She's a straight shooter, if you know what I mean. Dishing out the truth about the royal scene with a fist of fire and a voice so keen. Hitting hard with those altar bridge vibes. No sugarcoating, no false alibis. Tearing down the lies she despises. Yorkshire lass with fire in her eyes. Steph don't play, she holds the line. Shouting from the rooftops across the digital vine. Harry and Meghan under her sign. Fearless and bold with a soul that shines. See a fake, she's a beacon bright, unraveling the drama without a fright. Armored with honesty, ready to fight. Injustice quivers at her sight. Unbreakable will won't be confined. Mind of steel and heart redefined. Rhetoric sharp, leaving dust behind. In Steph's world, truth is intertwined. Steph don't play, she holds the line. Shouting from the rooftops across the digital vine. Harry and Meghan under her sign. Fearless and bold with a soul that shines. Will won't be confined. Mind of steel and heart redefined. Rhetoric sharp, leaving dust behind. In Steph's world, truth is intertwined. Steph don't play, she holds the line. Shouting from the rooftops across the digital vine. Harry and Meghan under her sign. Fearless and bold with a soul that shines.
Hey up everyone, welcome to this very special Daily Nerd Live. Usually I go live on a Sundays, but guys, today is a little bit different. Today is Tuesday the 7th of July, and in the next hour we are going to get confirmation. Has Prince Harry lost his court case against the publishers of the Daily Mail? Will he lose? This is, as I'd like to say, the official verdict watch for Prince Harry's Daily Mail court case. Thank you so much to everyone that's joined in so far, whether you're watching on YouTube or on X. Welcome. If you haven't done so already and you want more misadventures of the gruesome twosome, make sure you subscribe to YouTube to join our Alter Nerd tribe. Like, share, all of that good stuff. And if you're watching on X, make sure you give me a big, massive, friendly follow for @Stef The Alter Nerd. With that being said, I see you all in the live chat over on YouTube. Aussie Queen of the Roos, thank you so much for gifting a leadership to one of you lucky lots out there. Just to give you a little bit of an overview as to how this verdict watch is gonna work with this live stream kind of situation. Whilst I'm suppose recapping a few stories from this particular court case, I will be refreshing a few pages that I am looking out for. So I'm expecting the judgment to be either here, as I'm refreshing it, and last case scenario, here. So, yes, I will be periodically refreshing those particular screens because as soon as that judgment comes in, I'm pouncing on it and I'm going to give you guys the breaking news right here, only on Stef The Alter Nerd. Oh my goodness, Aussie Queen of the Ruse as well. Thank you so much for the Casper book. Spank the like to celebrate Hazard's loss. Yes, I am expecting that dude is going to lose big time. So, for those that are watching, particularly on YouTube, I haven't done this for a while, okay? But sometimes it's easier to do this rather than just start a poll in the live chat. If you think Prince Harry is going to lose his Daily Mail lawsuit, can you just hit that like button? Use the like button as your voting tool, right? It's the quickest and easiest way for me to gather your feelings on all of this and where you guys stand as to whether you think he's going to lose or not. I can see here that 76 of you have already hit that like button, indicating to me that you do believe that Prince Harry is going to lose his Daily Mail lawsuit. I see that there's over 380 of you watching on YouTube at the moment. If any of you guys think that he is going to lose this Daily Mail lawsuit, please hit that like button. Again, it's just the quickest and easiest way for me to gather where you guys may stand on it. And if you agree with me that you do think he is going to lose, because unless you've been living under a rock, guys, yes, Hazard is in the UK without Megsy and the children. I mean, they die. Were they ever really going to come over? They could still, but at the moment, they're not here, right? But the verdict is due in the privacy case against the Daily Mail publisher. We are expecting that this judgment is going to arrive in the next hour. This is why I've started Verdict Watch about an hour before we're expecting this actual verdict to come in. But yeah, just to give you a little bit more of an update here, today he will find out the result of a court case that he and I think like 6 others have brought against the Daily Mail publisher, otherwise known as Associated Newspapers, with claims of unlawful information gathering or for more commonly known as phone hacking, blah, 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 right? And so, with the result being published of a court case against the Daily Mail publisher, he's brought against with a number of well-known figures, including Sir Elton John, Simon Hughes, Liz Hurley, Sadie Frost, and Baroness Doreen Lawrence. They've also claimed that the newspaper group used unlawful methods for getting information for stories, allegations that have been strenuously denied by the publishers. So this is the thing. It's all hinging on whether Hazard and let's say the rest of the claimants were able to provide that burden of proof that was high enough to prove this, to prove whether the Daily Mail did use unlawful methods, phone hacking and the like, to gather information on them. Now, this is the thing, guys. I'm going to go through with you all in a minute a little bit of Hazard's testimony when he was in the dock for this court case at the beginning of this year. And I'm going to explain to you why I think ultimately he has lost the Daily Mail lawsuit. Essentially, as far as I'm concerned, it was all his damn fault, right? Before I get on to that, though, as we're waiting for the judgment to come in, Sinister Girls, thank you so much for this, saying, my Chihuahua Joey heard your voice and ran in. Ah, hey up, Joey, how's it going? Casper says hi. And if anyone's asking, where's the Casper cam? Casper cam is only on a Sundays, guys. That's like a special little Sunday treat for us all right? Other than that, he deserves his privacy, right, guys? Funshine Kelly S, thank you so much for your support, saying, OMG goodness! I know, right? I know. Wow. We are definitely on Verdict Watch, aren't we? So, whilst we're waiting, let me recap, as I've got a little bit of a teary eye. Just on a little bit of a side note here, because I'm always honest with you guys, this eye, yesterday morning, underneath, it was a little bit swollen. No, I've not been punched in the face by Casper, right? But I just woke up, like, yesterday morning, and it was, like, a little bit puffy, like, here. Don't know why. Maybe a ghost did it. Who knows? But anywho, yeah, that's why it's watering a little bit, I think. A little bit on the sore side. But anywho, with that being said, let's get into a little bit of why I think Prince Harry has ultimately lost his Daily Mail court case. So let's get into it right now. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught my eye. And oh my goodness, yeah, let's jump into this madness, shall we? Because I'm gonna go through all the reasons based on Prince Harry's testimony as to why he has, in my opinion, ultimately lost his court case against the Daily Mail. So let's get into this right now, okay? Because first and foremost, he was caught lying by his own book. His own book was used against him, otherwise known as Spare, more commonly known as Wah. So here we've got Maria Montessori saying, unfortunately for Harry, various details of conversations he denied having taken place in this lawsuit he actually wrote about in his autobiography, which were then read out to him. And as Maria Montessori says right here, he just got caught lying by his own book. And then here we've got Royally Sage showing us this little bit of a screenshot at the time, saying at one point he was shown an old newspaper article about a conversation he had about his former girlfriend Chelsea Davy around a campfire in Botswana. Sherburn, who was Colleen Rooney's barrister not that long ago, and the barrister for Hazard and the rest of the claimants for this particular case, can certainly recall the toe-curling scenes at the Wagatha Christie libel trial, in which almost everything Rebecca Vardy denied doing was then shown to the court, clear as day, in WhatsApp messages she and her agent had written. At least in that case, Team Vardy had the good sense to try to throw the evidence off a boat during a sightseeing trip in Aberdeenshire. Unfortunately for Hazard, though, various details of conversations he denied having taken place, he wrote about in his autobiography, which were then, just for added flavour, read out to him. I know, right? You can't make this shiz up, even if you freaking tried. And this is the thing. He can't complain that so much detail of his life is out there when, thanks to the British Prince right here collating all of this, he and Megsy have contributed to it themselves as to why there's so much detail of his and Megsy's life out there in the first place. As Royal Rundown says right here, Prince Harry rallied at the way his private life was commercialised, says it's disgusting and just for the Mail to make money. Yet he funded a lavish lifestyle in America by selling his brother and father and their wives to the highest bidder. You're no different, Hazard. And no, he is no different. Selling to the highest bidder. You've got Spare, you've got various interviews, you've got the magazine interviews, you've got the mockumentary. Various other exploits, courtesy of Hazard and Megsy. As Angela Levin says right here, Harry needs to think about how much he has hurt his family, grandparents and family in books and in interviews. He still hasn't apologised to his father, for what we know, and I can imagine if he hasn't, for the cruel things he said. It doesn't work if he just thinks about himself at his age. No, it doesn't. Now, another reason why I think, ultimately, Prince Harry has lost his Daily Mail lawsuit is Dude thought it was the best idea in the whole wide world, right? In his testimony, to target female journalists. Now, as Ture Bakahai says in this post, and apologies if I've mispronounced your name, I wonder if Meghan Markle was behind this. Because he says here, interesting too, how Prince Harry's entire case is against well-educated, highly respectable women journalists, some of whom were in his own social circle. And he asks a good question here. Wonder if Meghan Markle, his notoriously vengeful little controller, is behind this. Yeah, I wonder too. Because Think Beautiful has a good point here. Let's be honest. Meghan is miserable because she isn't a billionaire by now and she's married to this dead-end loser who spends most of his time in court talking about his previous, much better-looking girlfriends. But anywho, let's get back to him targeting female journalists because he's been exposed for using female journalists to actually parrot his propaganda. Not only that, but using female journalists from the Daily Mail, the paper he's trying to successfully sue. Here you go, Harry and the Daily Mail back in 2025. Thanks to Jen Carson-Taylor for this little ditty. Here we go. Exclusive interview by Alison Boshoff. Oggy's authorised by Harry to speak to the Daily Mail's chief show business reporter, Alison Bischoff. Yes, you read that correctly. The very same newspaper Harry and his wife sued. School chum of Prince reveals Harry's happy for me to speak. He's grief-stricken at this hostile takeover. And this was his chum speaking out at the time during the whole Centre Barley drama that was going on last year, right? And as Camilla Tominey for The Telegraph is quoted here by Jen, quote, but let us be clear about one thing. No newspaper in this country has ever cashed in on Prince Harry's private life more effectively, more relentlessly, or more profitably than Prince Harry himself. Because let's put it this way. The original Netflix deal was around about $100 million. Spotify was for $20 million. His book deal with Penguin Random Publishing House was, again, potentially for another $20 million. He has a multi-million-dollar salary per year with his job at BetterUp. So, yeah, no one has cashed in more, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, than Hazza himself. I totally agree with Camilla here. Now, let's get on to another reason why I think Hazza has ultimately lost his court case against the Daily Mail. He just wasn't convincing. Fake crying. Here we go. This is from Observer88 on X. Sharing this screenshot, his lip wobbled whilst he's on the stand testifying as he looked at the judge and told him how hard this has been for his wife Meghan, accusing Associated Newspapers Limited of having made my wife's life an absolute misery. He choked on the words. After that, he finished giving evidence and left the courtroom. But as Observer88 says, Harry in court chokes back emotion. The sobs were accompanied by tiny little violins. Yeah. Because Megzy is a media-loving maniac. As long as it's on her own terms, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, right, guys? So this just was not convincing in the slightest. And here we've got Royally Sage saying, so Harry's tears were brief and associated with his own lawyer, most likely rehearsed. But where the tears from both eyes are just the left one. If you know, you know, right? Because here she shares another screenshot from an article saying, maybe I'm too cynical, but I've seen many a tear in High Court witness box, and they tend to come not during cross-examination, but at the very end when the claimant is being led through his evidence by his own legal team, which is exactly what happened here. The bit, in other words, which is always quite literally rehearsed. So the mainstream media didn't even buy his sobbing either, right? The royal tear. I mean, come on. That's proper putting Hazza down there. was the final act of a lightning-fast day. As they don't quite say in Montecito, he was in and out faster than an In-N-Out burger. I mean, shout out to In-N-Out, my favourite burger place in America. Not sponsored. Wouldn't say no, though, just saying. We were late starting and early finishing, the time on the courtroom clock showing 2:30. The flame of justice burns bright in the no longer flamed-haired one. I had to read the end bit, because it still always makes me chuckle whenever I read it, right? But this is the thing, right? He cries and he moans as he says that his life is not a matter for public interest. However, as Scarfy says right here, you hard-working peons should pay millions of your tax dollars for my security. Paraphrasing Hazza. So he's saying that his life is not a matter of public interest, but then he's expecting the public, i.e. us, to pay millions in tax, our taxpayer money, for his security. Make that make sense, right? Now, I did have this funny comment as well from Helen Rosa saying, "Oh, Hazza, let me play you a sad song on the world's smallest, tiniest, teeniest violin," right? Seriously, though, let's get to British royalty in all of this, right? Because she's asking a really, really good question here. Did Meghan Markle coach Prince Harry before his court case? This is the thing. This is, as I'm coming back to it, this is another reason why I ultimately believe Prince Harry has lost his Daily Mail lawsuit. Because he just was not convincing on the stand. And so many people were questioning his emotions that he was trying to exhibit, and whether he was actually coached or not. Whether his testimony ultimately was truthful. Because British royalty then says, why on earth would you drag your wife into testimony about tabloid snooping from a decade before she even entered the picture? Yeah. Because all of his stories that he's alleging the Daily Mail had unlawfully gathered information on were stories that were published way before Megxie even entered the scene. So why is he allowing Megxie to enter the narrative in his testimony when she has nothing to do with the case whatsoever? A lot of his testimony, right, was all of this, but none of this. As in, show us the receipts. Dude was proper empty-handed. There were no receipts whatsoever. There was nothing to back up. All it was the rehash, as far as I'm concerned, of his lawsuit against publishers of the Daily Mail, Daily Mirror, when I could get my teeth back in a couple of years back, which was, yeah, they hacked me because there was no other way they could have got this information. That's basically the same thing that he's doing in this lawsuit with the Daily Mail here. Now, another reason why I do believe that Hazza has ultimately lost his lawsuit against the Daily Mail is because Hazza said that he couldn't do anything whilst he was in the royal family. So here's a screenshot from ex-user I'm offended by government at M. Dymore, saying Prince William has been involved in multiple lawsuits against the press and photographers. Notably, he and Princess Catherine won a case against Paris Match for publishing intrusive photographs of them during a family vacation, which was ruled to be a violation of their privacy. Additionally, they previously sued Closer for topless photographs taken during a private holiday, which resulted in a settlement. Overall, the royal family has taken legal action against the press on several occasions to protect their privacy and image rights. But this is the thing, right? Hazza turned round and said that he couldn't sue the Daily Mail until now because the royal family stopped him from doing that. The royal family would not allow him to have his own legal team. That he had to exit the royal family to have his own legal team to then sue the Daily Mail and the publisher in the first place. Not true. Because Prince William and Princess Catherine are still in the royal family and they successfully sued a newspaper, a tabloid. Not only that, a tabloid in a different country. So for Hazard to turn around and say, well, I couldn't sue until now because I was in the royal family at the time, complete BS. Again, another lie, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, that adds up to, ultimately, reason why Hazard's lost this Daily Mail lawsuit as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's get on to another reason, because, guys, there's more. Harry, the pub brawler. Yeah. So, let me just get on to this one here. Sorry. You know what? I'm not going to go on to that one. Instead, sorry guys, I'm recording this live if you're watching on the replay. I'm going to keep this in because we're all human, right? And we all make mistakes. Let's get on to Meghan's miserable life instead. Still many more reasons to go through, really, to be fair. So let's get on to this. Prince Harry emotionally claims Daily Mail publisher made Meghan Markle's life an absolute misery as he takes stand in privacy case. And VI Queenie has a very good point here, saying, misery, please. She staged every single pap shot and fed Harry's paranoia like it was a full-time job. Just watch their lame Netflix reality show. I call it a mockumentary, but there you go. The one with the invisible motorcycle chase that somehow never shows up on camera. I know, right? And moving on from this, we've got Princess Carparkle, unremarkable here, saying, oh no, this is what we are not going to do. Meghan Markle is not a victim. You cannot call the paps, leak stories, and then cry and whine that the press is ruining your life. She's been actively seeking the press and publicity for over 20 years. Maybe she has to cry to Harry in order to maintain the Diana manipulation gaslighting, allegedly. But Megsy is not a person who avoids the effing press. How embarrassing, truly. All he wants is an apology. Yeah, liar lips. I thought she didn't read anything about herself. I thought that too. Because this is the thing. You can't one moment turn around and say the press has made Megsy's life an absolute misery, but then next work with the press to ensure that you are in the headlines. I mean, we all know by now the WhatsApp group that Hazard and Megsy have with a select few journalists. So him turning round and trying to make Megsy a victim in all of this completely damages his case, because there is a legitimate argument to be made that she's not a victim in any of this. That the press has not made her life a misery. She's actively encouraging to be in the press. It's a thing. It's a manipulation. So that headline-grabbing, attention-seeking claim doesn't hold up in water, therefore it doesn't hold up in court. It's another dint in his argument that again adds up for me, ultimately thinking he has lost his Daily Mail lawsuit. And ultimately, when I look at this, did Harry blow up his entire lawsuit against the Daily Mail? Because Meghan's mole makes a good point here. Private information being attributed to sources and friends by the papers led him to suspect those close to him were providing tips to journalists rather than the details being gathered by unlawful means. So it was reported that at one point, Hazard suspected it was those close to him that was leaking information to the Daily Mail and the press. So hang on a minute. What changed? What changed from suspecting your friends to then going after the newspaper? It's more plausible that someone in his inner circle's been leaking the information to newspaper, really, in the grand scheme of things, because that's really how it works, unfortunately, with some high-profile people. So why isn't he suing some of his friends or ex-friends, let's say, in that regard. Him flipping flopping, right? Blaming A, his friends, but then B, changing his mind and blaming a publisher instead, shows him to be inconsistent as to who he believes leaked or got this information, whatever, in the first place. Again, this all adds up to what I think ultimately why Prince Harry has lost his Daily Mail lawsuit. Now, with that being said, those watching live, whether on YouTube or on X, I see you all. Stay exactly where you are. I'm not done with you guys yet. We're going to get on to a couple more stories to recap, to remind ourselves as to what's happened during this court case whilst we're waiting for the judgment to be published, which is going to be, it looks like, in the next half hour. So those watching live, stay exactly where you are. But for those on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all your faces. And until the next time, you guys, laters. Okay, and I am back. Thank you so much to everyone that's tuning in so far. As we are currently on verdict watch, in the next half hour, we are expecting to get confirmation of the ruling of Prince Harry versus the Daily Mail. Has he won? Has he lost? I think he's ultimately lost. I really do think so. So if you think the same way, I haven't done this in a long time, but it's just the quickest and easiest way for me to gauge your opinions on this. If you think Prince Harry has ultimately lost his Daily Mail court case, can you please quickly hit that like button? Like I said, it's just the quickest and easiest way for me to gauge you guys' opinion on this, to see if you agree with me. If you do think he has lost ultimately, I can see here that 410 of you have hit that like button, indicating that you do believe Prince Harry has ultimately lost his Daily Mail court case. I'll check back in a little while and see how many more of you agree with this assessment and agree that, yes, he has lost. But with that being said, you guys, couple of thank yous before we recap on another story regarding this whole lawsuit. So we've got the big SM. Thank you so much for the Casper book, saying, another cat fact. It's a cat quote. Okay. The way to get on with a cat is to treat it as an equal, or even better, as the superior it knows itself to be. Elizabeth Peters. I like that one. That's a good one. And Funshine Kelly, yes, thank you so much for that very kind Casper books. Really appreciate your faces there. But yes, in the meantime, guys, let's recap on another story. Actually, before we do so, if you've been watching since the beginning, you guys will know that I've been refreshing these pages from time to time. This is where I'm expecting the judgment to be published. So let's have a look at all of this. Yeah, nothing there so far. And last ditch attempt. Nothing there so far either. Okay, guys, so with that being said, it looks like we've got about 25 minutes left till we expect the judgment to come in when we get hopefully confirmation that he has actually lost, because I really don't think he deserves to win this one at all, based on, everything I just presented to you in the last 25 minutes as to why I ultimately think Hazza has lost his Daily Mail lawsuit. With that being said, though, it did get worse for him in court. For Hazza. So let's remind you guys of this situation, right? He actually partied with a Daily Mail journalist that he accused of hacking. Yeah. His credibility went even further down the drain. Further more than I could have even imagined at this point, right? So yeah, this was reported by The Sun. Hacking trial. Prince Harry parted with Mail on Sunday journalist and sent her friend request on Facebook. The High Court heard. So didn't just party with her, right? Where he could have argued, oh well, she was just there. She's just an acquaintance. Oh no, 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 no. He then friended her on Facebook. Yeah. So this was the friendship between Hazza and the Mail on Sunday's editor-at-large, Charlotte Griffiths. In her witness statement, she said that Hazza sent her a Facebook friend request in 2011 and gave her his number. So he couldn't even argue that, oh no, they're just internet Facebook friends. It doesn't mean anything, this, that, and the other, right? In the grand scheme of things. No, no, no. He gave her his number as well. And so she was a diary reporter at the time back in 2011. And she said that they partied together at mutual pal Arthur London's flat in June the following year in 2012. So you can't say that, oh, she wasn't even in my circle. She was in his circle. They had a mutual pal, a mutual friend. It wasn't just a friend of a friend of a friend. No, no, no. It was a friend. There wasn't several degrees of separation here. She was in the circle. Proof shown by him friending her on Facebook and giving her his number as well. She then says, Arthur hadn't made it home by the time that I arrived, but told me Prince Harry was staying at the flat and that the party had already started under Prince Harry's watch. He told me that Prince Harry would let me in if I made it there first. The music was loud and they didn't hear the doorbell, so Arthur advised me to call and text to be let in. And so, this is the thing. Associated newspapers are turning around, the Daily Mail, publisher is turning around and saying, we didn't have to hack anything. Why? Because he had friends that were leaky as hell. And this is the thing. If Hazza thinks it's the best idea in the whole wide world to be friends with a journalist that is attached to a newspaper that he's ultimately going to sue, then ultimately I don't think he's got good judgment when it comes to selecting his inner circle and friends. Let's put it that way, right? Because this is the thing, right? Why party with a journalist, make friends with them on Facebook, and give them your private telephone number when you accuse them of this? Prince Harry has accused the publisher of the Daily Mail of wanting to drive him to illicit substances and drinking by placing his life under surveillance, as he told the High Court that it continued to come after him and his wife. If the publisher of the Daily Mail was so evil, pushing Hazza to illicit substances and drinking, then why party with them and make friends with them on Facebook and give them your private number? Oh, by the way, if you read his book Spare, he told us a different story as to what drove him to take illicit substances. And hint, it wasn't the mainstream media. He says it himself. I took illicit substances to escape reality. To escape reality, guys. But let's get back to Hazza partying and making friends with the Daily Mail journalist he's now accusing of hacking. Because why party and make friends with someone who he alleges has made your wife's life such a misery? Oh. Yeah, let's just forget everything he wrote in Spare, right? Let's just forget that. As far as I'm concerned, Megxie has achieved making her life a misery all on her own. And she's helped Hazza down that same path as well. But hey, when you can't blame yourself, who you gonna blame? Mainstream media! I did a little bit of a Ghostbusters ditty there. I hope you appreciated that, right, guys? But yeah, there is, hang on a minute, Rosa Brager Your audio is rather low. Noticed it yesterday, but thought it was me. But it's still like that, and I've been watching others for hours with normal audio. Okay, if that's the case, let me just increase my mic a little bit. Okay, testing, testing. Testing, testing. All right, I'm going to just increase it a little bit. Hopefully that's a bit better for you. Sorry for the technical gremlins there. Before we get into it a little bit further with another story to remind yourselves as to how much of a disaster it is for Prince Harry with this Daily Mail lawsuit. Well, I think he's ultimately going to lose, right, guys? A couple of thank yous very quickly. Miss Impossible, thank you so much for gifting a leadership. Aussie Queen of the Ruse, thank you so much for the Casper books. Got my Casper jumper today. Yay! Oh, thank you so much for your support there. And Teresa Holtham, thank you so much for those Casper books, saying please get beautiful Casper some treats. Steph and Dino, the guide dog, says hello. Well, hey up, Steph and Dino, the guide dog, and hey up, Teresa. Thank you so much for that. With that being said, let's do another little bit of a quick check here. So these are the pages I'm expecting the judgment to be released on. We're looking at just over 15 minutes time. Yep, nothing is there. Let's check this. Yep, nothing's there either. And let's check this. Yep, nothing there either. Okay, guys, so we're close. I think we are close to this judgment being released now, so everyone stay tuned. We are officially on verdict watch. For those that are watching particularly on YouTube, I haven't asked this in a while, but use the like button as your voting tool because it's the quickest and easiest way for me to gauge you guys' opinion. Do you think Prince Harry is going to lose big time this Daily Mail lawsuit? If you do think that, then just quickly hit that like button just for me to quickly gauge whether you believe the same as me, that I think he's ultimately going to lose big time in this Daily Mail lawsuit. I can see here that 569 of you have hit that like button, indicating that you do believe he is going to lose big time with this Daily Mail lawsuit. I'll check back in a little while and see if there's anyone else that thinks the same way as me, and 582 others that are watching right now. In the meantime, yeah, let's get on to this situation, because if you remember, right, in a final court bombshell that, as far as I'm concerned, no one saw coming, right, including me, Prince Harry was, for lack of a better phrase, caught in bed with the Daily Mail journalist. Oh yeah, Daily Mail editor Charlotte Griffiths. Yes. Thanks to Toria on X for sharing this at the time. So these were the messages that were exchanged between Hazza and Charlotte Griffiths on Facebook, after he friended her on Facebook, mind you. So it wasn't like he could argue that, oh, I just friended her on Facebook, but I didn't really speak to her at all. No, he did. And it got pretty, as far as I'm concerned, a little bit juicy about all of this, right? So let me remind you guys of the messages that I also think have torpedoed his chances of actually winning this ultimately. So here, the first message is from Hazza, saying, and this was December 4th, 2011. It's Hazza, or H, in case you were confused by name and picture. Then there's an X, a kiss. Charlotte Griffiths. We all knew then at that point that his Facebook name was Mr. Mischief. Really? Saying, hello, Mr. Mischief, what a fun weekend of naughtiness. Can't we all get up to no good in the countryside every weekend, damn it? Smooches, CG string, 3 kisses. Like I said, this got juicy juice. Hey, right? No one saw this coming at the end. This was the final court bombshell, guys. Then As a response, was that without the doubt the best of those weekends I've been to. What a crowd. Never laughed so much in 24 hours. So he enjoyed being in the company of CG String, Daily Mail editor. Mr. Mischief, how do I get that title? I was surely no worse than anyone else. Wow. She then replies, Mr. Mischief is definitely a compliment, by the way. You weren't worse than anyone else. We all competitively out-naughtied each other, which is why we all had so much fun. Wow. Wow, right? And then Charlotte then says, okay, I'm very unimpressed that your skippy surfing seems to have inadvertently trumped all of the scandal on our weekend. Damn you, you bloody maverick. And now you're all heading to BVI. Double trumped, double humph. Thirsty Thursday plans, X? Now, the term thirsty, right, guys, could be interpreted a couple of ways. Could be interpreted as thirsty for a drink on Thursday kind of thing. Or, in more up-to-date vernacular, it could be, oh, you're thirsty for me. Bow chicka wow wow. I mean, dude called her CG String. That is triple-exual, right? Come on. Come on. I mean, that's just my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, right? I mean, what do you guys think? Now, Griffiths joined the Mail on Sunday in 2008. She was then diary editor from 2013 to 2020. Now is the editor-at-large. And so, a year before she was diary editor, but whilst she was still employed by Mail on Sunday, 2012, January 22nd, H-bomb, she says, we missed you so much at Arthur's last week. Ski PP cracked out some serious moves. Anywho, after some shopping in Valdee and Maribel, yeah, casual whatevs, I've arrived in Closters and been watching some Centre Barley Snow Polo. Does that mean you're here and I can dominate you off the black runs? / steal one of your ski boots and feel irres non guilty? What? He then replies, ha ha, Charty. I wish I was there, sugar. But unfortunately stuck in Cornwall doing army stuff. Otherwise I would have been there playing and then drinking you under the table, Ovie. So, he called... This is the thing, right? He has this... He tries to portray this image of, you know, being a leader in the armed forces, right? An advocate for the armed forces, particularly those that have been wounded, a la Invictus Games, whatever, right? Takes it all seriously, this, that, and the other. But back in the day, he called his duty to his country, from a military standpoint, army stuff. See where I'm coming from there? Quite juvenile. Anywho, the whole thing raised a load of money, so I'm pretty happy. Just wish I could have been there, especially now that you're there. Do you ever work? So he knows what she does for a living. Do you ever work? You can't turn around and say, well, I didn't know she was at the Daily Mail at the time. Do you ever work? That indicates he knew exactly who she was and exactly what she did. Bummed beyond belief to have missed Arthur's as well. I've been seriously busy since I last saw you, but plan on getting back in the mix for February. You best be around. Hope you're really well, Griff. Miss our movie snuggles. Movie snuggles? If I'm snuggling up to anyone during a movie, right, it's gonna be with possibly, potentially, I don't know, whatevs, future boyfriend. Future dude that I really, really like. Do you know what I mean? When you think of movie snuggles, who do you think you're snuggling up with, right? If you did movie snuggles right now, who are you snuggling up with? I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, You're thinking of snuggling up to your other half, so your boyfriend, girlfriend, you know, your partner. Or if you're single, like me, you're thinking of snuggling up to a celebrity that you know, you wouldn't say no to. Let's put it that way. But either way, it's a very, very intimate scenario, movie snuggles, that friends just really don't do. See where I'm coming from? So, this, right, these messages was the final court bombshell that no one saw coming. Prince Harry, as far as I'm concerned, literally caught in bed with a Daily Mail journalist. And so, as Meghan Markle's sister, Samantha Markle, says right here, busted. Again, another clear example as to why ultimately I think Hazard has lost his Daily Mail lawsuit. Now, guys, let's get on to Verdict Watch. So, for those that don't know and that have tuned in halfway through, I am currently monitoring a few pages from judiciary.uk where these judgments are published. So, I'm refreshing to see. Let's have a look. No, not published there. Let's get on to the case itself. Related content here. This is where I'm looking at. Let's see. Nope, still not published. And then last case. Have a look. No. Still, we are waiting. But looking at this, based on what we know, we've got about 7 minutes left until we are expecting the verdict to actually come through, guys. So with that being said, I'm going to read a few of your comments to see what you guys think. But NPNG Creed Menace, thank you so much for the Casper books. Hey, you. Hey up, NPNG Creed Menace. Appreciate your face there. So, guys, I want to see your comments right now. If you're watching on YouTube, what do you guys think? Do you guys think ultimately Hazard is going to lose this Daily Mail lawsuit, and why? I'd love to know your reasons as to why. I've given you a few of my reasons with receipts as to why I think he's ultimately going to lose this Daily Mail lawsuit, but I want to hear from you guys now in the live chat. Let's see what you guys are thinking. We are now 6 minutes away, guys, from when we are expecting the verdict to be published. I'm getting really excited now. I'm like... And guys, if you are watching, whether on YouTube or on X, make sure you are subscribed to our Alter Nerd tribe here on YouTube, and you're following me on X at Stef Alter Nerd, because regardless of what this outcome is going to be, regardless of this judgment, I am going to have your favourite DC lawyer, John Witherspoon, on this channel later on today for his official reaction to the judgment. And I know he'll have a lot of things to say about it. So if you don't want to miss that and any further updates regarding all of this, yes, please make sure you are subscribed to me here on YouTube and follow me over on X at Stef Alter Nerd. Thank you so much to everyone that's tuned in so far, whether on YouTube or on X. I see you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you so, so much. I can see here, before I get to some of your comments, 766 of you have hit that like button so far, indicating to me that you ultimately think that Harry is going to lose this Daily Mail lawsuit. So for those watching on YouTube, please use the like button as your voting tool. It's the quickest and easiest way for me to gauge you guys' opinion to see if you actually agree with me or not. I think Harry's going to lose this. What do you guys think? Please hit that like button and let me know. Like I said, it's the quickest and easiest way for me to gauge you guys' opinion to see if you agree with me or not. I haven't asked this in a long time, so I think this is one of those rare times that I think this is warranted. So, yeah, oh God, that's gone up. 787 of you now believe that he is going to lose big time. I'll check in a little while time and see if you guys still agree with me at that point. But yeah, let's see what you guys are saying in the live chat. I'll bring up some of your comments on the screen. Helen Brady says, I pray that he fails. Yeah, I'm really hoping that he doesn't win this one. I really, really am hoping, because as far as I'm concerned, like I've explained to you all with receipts, dude doesn't deserve to ring. All he said is, they've hacked me. The only reason they could have got this information is by hacking me, and that's it. Like, trust me, bro. No actual receipts to prove that he got hacked. Oh, and their star witness, right? That says, yeah, he was hacked, this, that, and the other. Oh, yeah, do you remember? He turned around and says that his witness statement, his signature was forged. And he ultimately had to testify at an undisclosed location because he was scared for his safety. Because of Team Hazard, Team Sherburne, and the rest of the claimants. That says a lot. Dude cannot win. He just cannot win. Help Up 11D says, loving this nerd. Do you know what? I'm enjoying this. One-off live streams during the week when it's, you know, something massive like this. Yeah, I'm enjoying it too. Right, so Christy Leisman says he needs to be told no. Yeah, he does. He does. Jennifer Mullen, can't say it better myself. Lost because he basically lied in court. Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. But yes, I would certainly agree with you on that. Sharon Wright says, I'd want to snuggle with Prince William. Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. I have to admit, I would love to do movie snuggles. Okay, guys, let me know in the chat, who would you love to do movie snuggles with, right? For me, it would be Benedict Cumberbatch, Sherlock Holmes era. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a thing. I don't know why. Help Up also says, I hope Hazard will lose because he has lied. I would agree with that. Let's see what else you guys saying. He lied, but he still might win. I know. Tell me about it. We've got, look at this, 1 minute left, guys. 1 minute left until we're expecting the judgment to come in. Oh my goodness. Roseanne Olive says, lose Harry is you believe he'll lose because Harry is an immature man. I just don't think he understands how real life actually works, but there we go. Yeah, this seems to be a little bit of a pattern here. You all basically think he's going to lose because you think that he's allegedly a liar. Interesting. All right. Here we go. Another one saying he lied, so he shouldn't win, surely. 8290 Kitty. I know. It will be interesting, this judgment. It very much will be. I'm still refreshing like a mad person right now. You have no idea. Oh my goodness. Evil Twin Sister says he'll pull a Blake Lively, win 1 of 14 charges and say it's a win, full vindication. Yeah, like he did with the Daily Mail, the publisher against the Daily Mirror. He didn't win. It was a Pyrrhic victory, right? He didn't win all his claims. He won like what? Less than half out of the 30 odd that he had against them? Come on. He just threw everything at the wall to see what stuck. That's exactly what he did with this Daily Mail case as well, as far as I'm concerned. Sarah on the stairs says, I hope he loses all 14 due to Harry lying. Emotions are not evidence. Tell me about it. I would agree. Let's get on to, because it's now officially 2 o'clock now. Here in the UK. Oh my goodness, let's refresh. Come on now. Any moment now, we are expecting this judgment to come through. At the moment, they might just be uploading it as we speak. But we are certainly expecting now, any moment, this judgment to come through. Okay, Right. Any moment, guys. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Are you just as nervous as me? I'm really, really nervous about all of this. Like, really, really nervous. For those that are watching right now, we are on verdict watch. We should be expecting the judgment anytime now. For those that are watching, particularly on YouTube, I rarely ask this. Please use the like button as your voting tool. It just gives me a quick indication as to what you guys think. The vote for today is, do you think that Harry is going to lose big time with this Daily Mail lawsuit? I think he is, but do you guys think so as well? If you do, please hit that like button as your voting tool. Like I said, it's just the quickest and easiest way for me to gauge your opinion, to see if you actually think the same way as me or not. I can see here that 906 of you so far have hit that like button, indicating to me that yes, you do believe he's going to lose big time. But let's refresh this again. Okay, we are still waiting. We're still waiting for this. Yeah, we're still waiting. So any moment now, I'm gonna keep on this page as I'm reading some more of your comments. Livy says the loser is gonna lose. Yeah, yeah, I would think so. Absolutely. Michelle Kelly says, hopefully it's a hat trick and he gets booted out of the US for, allegedly, I'm going to have to say it, lying on his visa. Yeah, so guys, if you haven't been here for a while on my channel, you'll know that I've been reporting on his visa situation pretty much right from the beginning, alongside your favourite DC lawyer, John Witherspoon. So if you're also interested in that story as well and you haven't done so already, do make sure you are subscribed to join our Alter Nerd tribe here on YouTube. And if you're watching on X, make sure you're following me at Stef The Alter Nerd, because I keep you guys equally updated on there as well. Thank you so much to everyone that's tuned in so far for this verdict watch. You guys are amazing with your support. Thank you so, so much. I really do appreciate it. But as you can see here, I am furiously refreshing all of this. Like, I'm like, dude, it's now 2:03. Release the judgment! Release the judgment! It's like release the hounds. But it should just be release the judgment. Oh my goodness, here we go. Luen10, here we go. Says, I believe the evidence proves he has no case, but Harry seems to nearly always win. Fingers crossed he loses. Sorry for Baroness Lawrence, who I believe was conned by Harry. Yeah, so there is this allegation that he conned Baroness Lawrence to actually come into this whole lawsuit in the first place. So, yeah, I can certainly believe that. I do believe that Hazza has a way of bending the truth, so to speak. Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, of course. But, yeah, again, I'm still furiously refreshing all of this. I know you guys say it's not allegedly, but I have to say that for protection, guys, if you can imagine. But yeah, let's see what else you guys are saying. Oh, here we go. I like this one. Lacre Shahail, liar, liar, pants on fire. There you go. And then Parakiwi says, Buckingham Palace refused him entry. Do they know he'll lose? This is a thing, right? Hazza is pulling this narrative that Buckingham Palace rescinded the invitation. No, they didn't rescind. He just accepted too late. But anyway, rescinded the invitation because they don't want him staying at the palace if it's announced that he's lost to the Daily Mail. Now, if that's the case, then why are they allowing Andrew, formerly known as Prince, to stay in a royal residence whilst an active police investigation is ongoing against him? Just saying. Just saying. Let's just refresh all this again. Oh my goodness. I know you guys some of you guys might be thinking, stop refreshing, but I think more of you guys will be appreciating right now that I'm trying to stay on top of this. And as soon as it's all released, we are pouncing on this, I tell you. Carbonized Stardust says, how do these lawyers not laugh at him? Or maybe they do. I think they do secretly. I really, really do think so. Let's see. Oh, Thunderhair, good morning, guys. Good afternoon, guys, from Yorkshire. Harry's lawyer is the only winner. Yeah, he's the one laughing all the way to the bank here. to the tune of potentially £38 million plus. Because that's what the judge said, if you remember, before the trial started in January, there was a special hearing that was held around about December time. And the judge said and warned them, and this was unprecedented, the judge warned Hazard and the rest of the claimants that if they still want the trial to go ahead, that they better make sure that they've got the money in place to pay for the case if they lose. Because it's over £38 million on the hook and counting. This is a multi-million pound court case, the likes of which we rarely see. So do better have the money to cough up if he loses. Which, mind you, just as a side note, he lost his case to try and get the level of security he feels he's entitled to, right? Against the UK government. Guess what? Rumours going round. He still hasn't paid the court costs to the tune of just over 500 grand. That's the rumour, guys. Don't shoot the messenger. Teresa Holtham says, I just want him to get a huge dose of karma. I just believe that he does not warrant winning this case whatsoever, just based on the strength of his own testimony. It's as simple as that. Based on the strength of his own testimony, he shouldn't win. He shouldn't win this. He just shouldn't. Frosted Dreams, I just came across this. Could you give the quickest rundown of what is happening? We are on verdict watch anytime now. We are expecting the judgment to be released by the courts, by the High Court themselves. And so, yeah, we are just waiting for that. We were told by 2 o'clock that the judgment was going to be released. It's now 8 minutes past 2 UK time. And yes, we are expecting any time now for the judgment to be released. Either on this page. So let's just refresh. Nope. This page. Or last case, this page. Nope, we're still waiting. So I'm just going through a few of your comments right now as to what you guys think about this all. So for those that are watching, if you haven't done so already, please use the like button as your voting tool. It's just the quickest and easiest way for me to gauge you guys' opinion to see if you actually agree with me or not. It's rare that I ask this, but if you do believe that Harry is going to lose big time in this Daily Mail lawsuit, then please hit that like button. It just gives me a quick indication as to whether you guys actually believe it or not, and if you agree with me that he is going to lose big time. I can see here 1,136 of you do believe that Harry is going to lose big time with this particular lawsuit against the Daily Mail. I can see here over 2,000 of you are watching right now on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't voted, please use the like button to vote right now. Do you think he's going to lose big time? I'll check back a little later on, but also, not to forget you guys, of course, thank you so much to those that are watching on X right now. Over 7,500 of you watching live right now on X. Thank you so much to everyone on both platforms for supporting me right now whilst I do this. I really do appreciate it. I count myself extremely lucky to be able to do what I do every single day. If you guys haven't done so, though, make sure you do it right now as we're waiting for the judgment. Subscribe to join our Alter Nerd tribe here on YouTube, and on X, make sure you're following me at Stef The Alter Nerd for more misadventures of the gruesome twosome, because don't think this is the end of Hazard's legal woes. Because next up is his visa situation, his visa nightmare over in America, and I've been covering this pretty much since the beginning. And we are expecting very shortly the first set of documents to be released from his visa application. We need to know, did he get his visa the correct way, or did he lie on the application? Or was he given special treatment? So guys, if you don't want to miss any future legal issues when it comes to Hazard or Megsy, do make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And if you're watching on X, make sure you're following me at Stef The Alter Nerd. Let's refresh this. Like I said, we are waiting any time now for the judgment to be released. I mean, we were told 2 o'clock, so come on. Come on, High Court. What's going on? Come on, come on, come on. Show us the judgment. Never mind show us the money, right? Show us the judgment. Anywho, Chantel Burke says, now make the loser accountable for the veterans and their donations. Yes. There still is a lot of questions surrounding the Invictus Games and where the millions are actually going to. Thanks to Montecito Minimalist for that. Like, excellent work there, right, guys? Patricia McCormack says, Harry's middle name is who? The. And if anyone gets that reference, extra nerd points to you guys. Annie Marr says, Hazard was cooked after all those emails. Loser alert. Yeah, right? I mean, he was cooked after those Facebook messages, as far as I'm concerned, between himself and now the editor at large, Charlotte Griffiths, over at the Daily Mail. Like, you cannot make this shiz up if you even tried. Oh, we've got the Ledge in the chat. Hey up, Ledge, how's it going? Appreciate you. Let's see. Blue Sky Overhead says, considering he brought his wife into a matter that took place years before he met her, shows how unstable his facts are. Yeah, everything that he claimed, it just showed him to be less untrustworthy on the stand. Because all he did was do this, but didn't show us the receipts to back up what he was trying to say. Because it's all good and well mouthing off on the stand, but if you can't back it up with receipts, what the hell are you doing there in the first place, as far as I'm concerned? I'm just saying, right? Let me put it this way to you guys, right? If I have, when I can get my teeth back in, if I ever have to take the stand for anything in my life, in a court case, right? If I'm, let's say, alleging something, you better realize that I'm coming with receipts and then some. As simple as that. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Let's see. Wow. All right. That's a little bit strong, mate. So desperate to see the arrogant, self-entitled, illicit substance adult has-been get his comeuppance. Yeah, I think a lot of us are waiting for that right now. A lot of us are waiting for that. BBC says it's released. Have a look. I'm just going on BBC right now. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Judgment. It's released, guys. It's released. Just released in the last minute. Q-Wigs, I wonder if the palace is being given a change to prepare a press statement before the public notice. Possibly, but yes, it has now officially been updated in the last minute. If you just give me one moment. Yeah. Let me have a look. Yeah, they've lost. They've lost. I'm just making a quick amendment. Give me a moment, guys, and then I'm going to go through the actual verdict and we're going to read through it. So just bear with me. You can see it on the screen right now. We're going straight to the horse's mouth here, guys. So, everyone watching, let's do this. Okay, guys, I'm going to record this as well as a separate video. So, let's go in 3, 2, 1. Hey up, everyone. It's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to an extra special Daily Nerd Live. We are live at the moment, and breaking news, we have just got word in the last moment that Prince Harry has lost his Daily Mail lawsuit. He has lost. That is it. Game over. Here it is being reported by the BBC. All claims in Prince Harry's High Court case has been dismissed. Prince Harry and 6 other defendants have lost their High Court privacy against the publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. All the claims have been dismissed after the claimants failed to prove the allegations. So this isn't like it was a couple of years ago when Hazza won some of his claims, but not all of the claims against the publisher with the Daily Mirror, right? Where he won less than half of, you know, his claims. No, this he has lost in its entirety. It is game over. He has lost outright the Daily Mail lawsuit. Dude is now on the hook, potentially for tens of millions of pounds in court fees alone with all of this. Now, we do have the judgment right here, officially from the Judiciary UK. So let's firstly have a look and download the file for the judgment itself. Here we go. Let's see. Just want to take that away. Sorry, you guys. I'm just going to change the browser. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, guys. We are live at the moment. So let's have a look at this. So, wow, this is insane, you guys. Let's see, approved judgment. The judgment was handed down remotely at 2 p.m. No, it wasn't, because we were here at 2 p.m. watching for this on Tuesday, the 7th of July, 2026, by circulation to the parties and the representatives by email, by publication, and by release to the National Archives. And so this is the judgment of the court following the trial of the claims in these actions, divided into the following sections. So, okay, they go through the evidence, they go through common themes and recurring evidential issues. They go through the articles and incidents. Let's see. Yeah, that's a lot of articles and incidents going on there. Then they go through the limitations of it all, and then conclusions and next steps. Okay, so we've got the litigation history, witnesses for the claimants, witnesses for associated. Okay, so that's a lot to get through. Let's see if we've got... Oh, hang on a minute. Just go up here. We're all reading through this all at the same time, you guys. So let's have a look. We want... Let's see. Limitation, litigation history, summary judgment. Okay, let's look for summary judgment in this. Okay, we're going to have to go further down. All right. Why won't it let me find it? This is quite a large file, so let's ignore that for now, guys. Let's get on to... Go back here. Judgment. Sorry, guys. We're just looking at this right now. Ah, here we go. Right. Okay. We've got it. We've got it. Okay, so let's get into this right now. Steph check Telegram. Hey up, Andy, how's it going, honey? Prince Harry attends the Victor's Games as judgment expected in Daily Mail. Oh, he's live. Oh, okay. I see it. Okay, so he's gonna be live. So I'm gonna check on this shortly. In the meantime, though, let's yeah. In the meantime, okay, here we go. Right, let's do that again. let's do that again. Okay, guys. So, Steph, look at the other screen. Have a look. All right. Okay, guys. Right, we're here. All right, let's do that again, guys. We are live. He's speaking now. See? All right, he's speaking now. Okay, let's get on to... Cheers, Andy, for that, mate. Okay, let's see what he's saying.
You've been doing something. It's measured by your willingness to listen, adapt, and keep improving. That spirit of shared learning is why this Invictus conversation matters. It isn't about finding one perfect model. It's about understanding what works in different contexts and asking how we can make it work for more people.
All right. Okay, I see that. I'll keep an eye on that, mate. But in the meantime, let's go back to this. So, again, guys, breaking news. Hazard has just lost against the Daily Mail with his lawsuit. We're going to go through a little bit of the judgment that's just been released. So let's get through it right now. Hey up, everyone, and welcome back to Stef The Alter Nerd live. We're doing an extra special live stream today for the 7th of July 2026. Breaking news, Prince Harry, it's just been announced, has lost completely 100% his lawsuit against the Daily Mail. He has lost. That is it. Dude could now actually be on the hook for over £30 million just in court fees alone. So let's get into some of the judgment that has just been released right here. We're going to zoom in a little bit, so let's do that right now. So, upon the trial of this action, heard on the relevant dates, and upon the court handing down remotely and without attendance by the parties, a reserved judgment on the 7th of July 2026 with the neutral citation, blah, 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 without a hearing, it is ordered that the claims are dismissed. Breaking news, Harry has lost big time his Daily Mail lawsuit. A hearing to determine the further orders to be made consequent upon judgment be listed for the 29th and 30th of July 2026, which is the consequentials hearing. So stay tuned because it is not over. The parties must endeavour to narrow the issues or agree the order consequential on the judgment in accordance with the following timetable. So they need to send to the defendant by 5 p.m. on the 10th of July. So this is only 3 days away now, guys. Their draft order by 14th of July. So this time next week, the defendant shall send to the claimants any proposed revisions to the draft order. So Daily Mail then responds back with any revisions to their draft order. And then by 17th of July, the parties shall lodge with the court an agreed order or a draft order marked up to show the areas of disagreement. An agreed hearing bundle, strictly limited to documents not already in the trial bundle and relevant to the disputed areas, be filed by the 22nd of July 2026. Skeleton arguments then filed and exchanged by midday on the 24th of July. The claimants then by 10 a.m. on Monday the 27th of July need to file a joint bundle of authorities and any application for permission to appeal. Now, this is a question now. Is Hazard going to appeal this, or is he just going to cut his losses? I think he'll be absolutely mad if he tries to appeal this. Absolutely mad if he tries to appeal this, right? And so here, any application for permission to appeal of this to this order is adjourned to be dealt with unless the court otherwise directs. All of the matters consequential in the judgment and dismissal of the claimant's claims, including costs, are adjourned to the consequentials hearing. Cost reserves. So the consequentials hearing at the end of this month essentially is going to determine how much Hazard is on the hook by when it comes to losing this Daily Mail lawsuit alongside 6 or 7 other claimants. I mean, this isn't just Prince Harry that's lost big time. This is Elizabeth Hurley. This is Sir Elton John. This is Baroness Lawrence, amongst others as well, right? And so, yeah, this is it. He has lost. Now, we get to find out a little bit more as to how he's lost in this judgment summary right here. It is quite lengthy, so we are going to go through just a few pieces here that has been written by the judge for his judgment itself. And so here we've got Section 3, The Godfather, Prince Harry on pram duty, Mail on Sunday, 2nd of September 2001 by Katie Nicholl. This is the first article relied upon by Prince Harry in his claim. This article was published in the Mail on Sunday on the 2nd of September 2001 under the headline, The Godfather, Prince Harry on pram duty as he is about to become a godparent to the son of former nanny Tiggy Leggy Burke, bylined to Katie Nicholl. The article reported in substance that Miss Leggy Burke intended to ask Prince Harry to be godfather to a newborn son, that she planned to seek Prince Charles's approval the following week, and that Prince Harry had visited and taken the baby out in a pram near her home. Prince Harry's pleaded case is that the article misused his private information by publishing information said to be private, obtained through unlawful acts, as generally defined in his particulars of claim. However, in contrast to certain other articles in Schedule B, Prince Harry advanced no specific case as to the mechanism by which the information was alleged to have been obtained unlawfully. The defence complained that no particulars were given as to any unlawful act said to have been used to obtain the information. At trial, Prince Harry alleged that the relevant information was obtained by Ms. Nicholl through voicemail interception, so phone hacking, right? An allegation put to Ms. Nicholl in cross-examination, which she denied, and denied by Associated in its closing submissions. The principal issue for determination, therefore, is whether Prince Harry has proved that the information in this article, which he relies upon, was obtained by or was the product of unlawful information gathering carried out or commissioned on Associated behalf, and in particular through voicemail interception as alleged at trial. If and only if unlawful acquisition were established, there would then arise the further questions whether the information relied upon engaged in a reasonable expectation of privacy in the circumstances, and if so, whether publication was justified. Given the conclusion I reach on unlawful acquisition, it's unnecessary to decide those further questions for this article. So, the evidence. The article contains 3 elements of information that are material to Prince Harry's complaint. Number 1, the asserted intention to ask him to be a godfather. Number 2, the asserted plan to seek Prince Charles's approval next week. And number 3, narrative and descriptive material about the visit and walk with the pram, including comment attributed to a family source and a royal insider. In his witness evidence, Prince Harry states that he does not remember reading the article at the time, but recalls the substance of it. He says that the information about the intended godparent request and the plan to seek Prince Charles's approval would have been known only within a very close circle, and that it was particularly intrusive that it was published before it happened. In addition to the article itself, there was contemporaneous media reporting on the same day in other titles about Prince Harry visiting Miss Leggy Burke and her baby and being seen pushing in a pram near her home, including The People and News of the World, and a Sunday Express article describing the visit and walk. Ms. Nichols' witness evidence is that she does not remember the article particularly well and has been unable to locate any notes for it. She says she recalls being given photographs to write up by Paul Field, then her news editor, and that Mr. Field would often pass royal stories to her and had excellent royal contacts. She referred to contemporaneous reporting, including an article in the Sunday Express, which also showed Prince Harry pushing a pram, and relied on that as indicating that the stories and pictures were not exclusive. This is exactly the same thing that happened with the Daily Mail. Harry turns around and says the only way this exactly happened the same as the Daily Mirror. Sorry, I get them mixed up because they sound similar. They start with an M, right? Anyway, this is exactly what happened in the lawsuit against the Daily Mirror a couple of years back, right? If you remember, he turns around and he says the only way they could have got this information is if they phone hacked me. Daily Mirror comes back and says, no, we didn't. And this story was reported in other newspapers before we even reported it. Daily Mail was able to approve the exact same thing happened with them. The exact same thing happened with them. Associated pleaded decision in the defence was that the article was written by Ms. Nicholl, that no unlawful mechanism was alleged by Prince Harry, that the article was based in part on what could be seen in photographs taken on a public street, and that Ms. Nicholl was unable to recall with certainty the sources. But her best recollection is that the relevant information was obtained by Paul Field from a contact or contacts and passed her to write up. Associated pleads that because Mr. Field is deceased and the events are now more than 2 decades old, it is unable to identify his sources. Now, let's get on to the discussion and conclusion in all of this, because this has got to be interesting here, right, guys? So, what I've said all along, I see the first couple of lines here. And what have I said all along? That all that Hazard did was said, trust me, bro, they had to have got this by illegal information, gathering this, that, and the other, right? They couldn't have got it any other way. Problem is, he never showed any evidence or receipts to prove that. Guess what the first line is right here, and I spied it already. The burden is on Prince Harry to prove that the information he relies upon in this article was obtained by unlawful means, carried out or commissioned on Associated's behalf. The allegation advanced at trial was that it was obtained by voicemail interception. Whoa, this is a statement by the judge right now. I am not satisfied that this has been established. Wow, this judge is kicking ass right now. Wow. The pleaded case does not particularize any unlawful act used to obtain the information in this article. The allegation of voicemail interception was first put to Ms. Nicholl in cross-examination. If Prince Harry intended to allege as an article-specific mechanism of UIG that this information had been obtained by voicemail interception, that this was a serious allegation which should have been clearly pleaded and supported by some proper evidential basis before it was advanced in cross-examination. More importantly, the evidence available for this article does not provide a sufficient foundation to conclude that voicemail interception or any other unlawful act occurred to obtain the relevant information. There is no documentary evidence for this article pointing to or suggesting voicemail interception. Ms. Nicholl has no notes for it and does not recall the sourcing beyond her recollection that the photographs and or tip came via the news editor, Mr. Field. Wow. This is the thing, right? If Harry is to appeal on this, he can only appeal, by my understanding, under a very, very strict condition. He has to have an argument, a really, really good argument, to state the judgment, that the judge came to the wrong ruling because he didn't follow the process properly. The judicial process wasn't followed properly in order for the judge to come to a fair and correct ruling. I don't think he can argue that to be able to get an appeal. I think if he appeals, he's more of a fool than we even give him credit for. The judge is literally saying there's no evidence to prove that they hacked him. There's no evidence that they did any unlawful information gathering. The judge is literally pointing that out very, very clearly here. So he then continues, the contemporaneous coverage in other titles on the same day can explain much of the narrative content of the article. Prince Harry's visit, the walk with the pram, and the general circumstances. Without the need to posit unlawful acquisition, those matters were being reported publicly at the time. So even the judge is accepting. Other papers were reporting on it at the time. Daily Mail could have easily got the information from them as well. Again, the same thing that the Daily Mirror pointed out a couple of years ago when he tried to sue them. That leaves the more specific element, the asserted intention to ask Prince Harry to be a godfather and the asserted plan to seek Prince Charles's approval the following week. I accept that, if true, this was a more specific matter than the fact of a visit and a walk with the pram. The question, however, is not whether it was specific, it's whether Prince Harry has proved that it's obtained by unlawful means and has advanced at trial by voicemail interception. Prince Harry's evidence is that only a very close circle would have known these matters and that the Palace Press Office would not have known because Prince Charles had not yet been notified. That evidence is important and I take it into account, but it does not, without more, establish that the information was obtained through voicemail interception. Still less that it was obtained by or as the product of an unlawful act carried out or commissioned on associated behalf. So even then, they're turning around and saying, well, yes, it's more specific information that Hazard was asked to be a godfather and that he had to go to Prince Charles to get his permission or his blessing, this, that and the other. The judge accepts that that is more specific information, but again, turns round and he says right at the beginning of this particular section, the burden of proof is on Prince Harry, and he did not provide the sufficient level of burden of proof to provide the receipts necessary to show that they got that information from unlawful information gathering, from phone hacking. Just didn't happen as far as the judge is concerned, right? Nor is there, on the present, evidential material for this article, a cogent basis for drawing an interference of voicemail interception. The article attributes the information to a family source and a royal insider. And Associated's evidence and pleaded position is that the information was obtained through contacts and passed through Mr. Field, who had excellent royal contacts. Ms. Nichol also described having royal and social contacts, including Lady Elizabeth Anson and Tara Palmer Tompkinson, although she was unable to recall the specific sourcing for this article. In short, the evidential position is that the article contains a mixture of 1, publicly observed or publicly reported material, the vast visit and the pram walk, and 2, a more specific assertion about an intended godparent request and intended approach to Prince Charles. Even if the latter was private in nature, Prince Harry has not established on the evidence that it was obtained by unlawful means, and in particular by voicemail interception, rather than by a source within the broad category of social/royal contacts relied upon by Associated and or Mr. Field. It follows that Prince Harry has not proved that this article was the product of unlawful information gathering. On that basis, the claim in respect of this article fails, and it is necessary to decide the further question of reasonable expectation of privacy and justification for this article. In other words, I'm thinking we're going to read the same thing for each and every other article that Hazard presented to court. He just didn't have the proof. It was all this, but none of this of show us the receipts. Dude just lost big time. And this judgment is absolutely scathing against Hazard. It's essentially saying, what the hell were you doing? You came to court, you made all these assertions, all these claims, but didn't back it up with one piece of evidence. What the frick were you doing, mate? This is freaking nuts, guys. Now, for those that are currently watching at the moment, stay exactly where you are if you're watching live, whether on YouTube or on X, because we're going to go through a lot more of this judgment. But guys, for those that are watching on the replay, breaking news, it is official. Prince Harry and the rest of the claimants have lost completely, 100%. He can't even claim this as a win. It is done. He has lost his Daily Mail lawsuit. So if you are watching on the replay, do make sure you are subscribed to join our Alter Nerd tribe here on YouTube. And if you're watching on X and you haven't done so already, do make sure you follow me at Stef Alter Nerd for more misadventures of the gruesome twosome. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Again, those watching live, stay exactly where you are. We're going to go through a little bit more of this judgment live. But for those on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all your faces. And until the next time, you guys, laters. All right, guys. That was the breaking news. If you just give me one moment, I'm just going to upload this right now. Just one moment, guys. Wow. I mean, I was expecting this to happen, but I mean, from what I've read from the judgment so far, dude is freaking screwed. Like, wow. Wow. I've nearly done uploading. Just give me a moment. I already had a thumbnail already in place for this as well. So how's that for being well prepared, right, guys? But let me know in the live chat as I'm quickly doing this, what's your reaction to what we've read so far when it comes to, as far as I'm concerned, that very, very scathing judgment from the judge when it comes to Hazard and his claims. Like, dude goes in. He really does. He's literally turning around and saying, you know what, even if your claims are true, dude, you came to court without evidence. What the frick were you thinking of? You know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness. I've nearly done just uploading this. If Andy's still watching, hey up, big brother, I learned this from you. Love you, mate. Love you, mate. Oh my goodness, many a time I was on Popcorn Planet Live and there was breaking news and he would record it there and then release it as a separate video. I learned so much from Andy. He's my big brother. Forever grateful for him. Anywho, yeah, let's make that public. And let's just do that. All right, so it's currently uploading over on X. So those that are watching on X, you'll be able to watch the standalone video of that in a moment. So that's all happening right now. Joanna Lane over on X, I see you guys. Thank you so much for you all tuning in. Right oh my goodness, over 22,000 of you tuning in right now on X. Thank you so much for tuning in and for, wow, all your support there. That is absolutely insanely amazing. Please make sure, if you haven't done so already, follow me over here on @Stef Alter Nerd on X. I report pretty much on the daily the misadventures of the gruesome twosome. And this court case is not finished yet. By the end of this month, there's going to be another hearing that, from what I gather, is going to determine how much Prince Harry is on the hook for losing this court case. Looks like he's on the hook for millions. Like, dude is screwed. Rude. But yeah, Joanna Lane over on X, he lost 100% based on what I was told last week. Yeah. Edithan Delfish Wiseman saying, Harry lost, just saw Dan Wooten post it. Yeah. I've just seen Dan Wooten post it as well. He's always on it. Jeffrey Podolitz, does the palace pay his court bills since he's a prince? No. No. He is a private citizen. He does not get any taxpayer-funded money whatsoever. He has to earn money, like all of us lot, albeit, you know, he's like a multi-millionaire. But yeah, still, no. Janie Banjo says, made my day. Yeah, it's made my day as well. I mean, all of you guys watching on X, comment in the live chat right now. Let me know your guys' reaction as well to this breaking news that Prince Harry has lost his Daily Mail lawsuit. I'd love to hear from you guys as well, and I will read them out live on this stream. Let's see what you guys are saying, though, in the live chat before we get into a little bit more of this particular judgment. My goodness. It looks like it's all a mixture of the claimants and Hazard's stories, so I'm having to scroll down to see the next kind of thing where it says about Harry. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I found Harry's next judgment against him from the court, so we'll get into that in a moment. Tamara Smith, I love this. Huggy and Druggy have lost again. Greetings from Northern Indiana. Well, greetings from West Yorkshire. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Best news ever. I know, best news ever. Totally. Let's see. Fat Elvis says, even how his wife's boyfriend is laughing at him. Carbonized Stardust says, what would he even appeal on? The entire case, because the judge tossed the entire thing. And this is my argument. Going through this judgment, it looks like there's no room for him to appeal. He is done and dusted. But we're talking about Prince Hazard here, right? Ego the size of what? Freaking universe? He thought he was going to win. He hasn't won. Dude is freaking screwed, right? He probably thinks it's an injustice and he has to fight it every step of the way until literally the bitter end. I mean, he did so when it came to his case against the UK government trying to get the taxpayer-funded security he feels is entitled to. He went to the bitter end and all of that. You don't think he's going to go to the bitter end here as well? I mean, she's the freaking bed, right, guys? Now, let's go on to a little bit more of this judgment, guys, because, wow, we're going to get on to the second article that Prince Harry relied on when it comes to his claim. And whilst I'm doing that, those watching on X, the standalone video is now live. The breaking news that Prince Harry has lost his Daily Mail lawsuit. So if you want to watch that separately, you guys can do as well. But yeah, wow, guys, this is big. This is massive. So let's get into this second article. So this is Harry's Older Woman, published on Sunday the 8th of December 2002 by Katie Nicholl. The article was published on the Mail this Sunday. Byline to Katie Nicholl reported that Prince Harry had set his sights on Natalie Pinkham, that he'd been sending her text messages and emails, and that he'd invited himself to a private party at Miss Pinkham's West London home. The article also recorded Miss Pinkham's position, namely that she and Prince Harry were not an item, although they get on well and have a lot of fun. Prince Harry alleges that the information in the article was obtained by UIG, so again, unlawful information gathering. The pleaded case was that Ms. Nicholl obtained Ms. Pinkham's mobile telephone number and then commissioned a blagger to obtain itemised billing data from which it was inferred that Prince Harry was in regular contact with her. No case was pleaded that Ms. Nicholl herself engaged in voicemail interception in relation to this article. Now, when it comes to the issues, the issue, therefore, is whether Prince Harry has proved on the balance of probabilities that the relevant information in the article was obtained by unlawful means, carried out or commissioned on associated's behalf. The evidence, so Prince Harry's evidence was that only a very small group of people knew that he and Miss Pinkham were close, and that while he accepted he may have been in regular contact with her, nobody would have known that detail save through access to his call data. The claimants rely on the evidence as demonstrated the private character of the information in the article. Ms. Nicol addressed this article in both her first and second witness statements. In her first witness statement, she said that she did not remember the article very well, but had refreshed her memory by reviewing a page of a notebook and a recording she made of conversation with Ms. Pinkham. She said that she had previously written about Prince Harry's possible romantic interest in Miss Pinkham, and that it was well known that they were friends with a flirtatious relationship. She added that while Miss Pinkham never volunteered stories about Prince Harry, they were on good terms, and Miss Pinkham would sometimes speak to her off the record, and that she had several sources who knew both Miss Pinkham and Prince Harry well at the time, including one source within Prince Harry's circle who was sometimes present when Prince Harry was on the phone, and who had, on at least one occasion, been shown some of his text messages. She said that she spoke to Miss Pinkham to check whether Prince Harry had gone to a party at her house, and that Miss Pinkham confirmed that he had, but did not want to discuss it further. And so, going through a lot more of the evidence here, this is an interesting paragraph that's just caught my eye. Prince Harry also relies on hearsay evidence. Yeah, I didn't think hearsay evidence was admissible in court, guys. Like, seriously? No. No, 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 no. So why he would even think it would be the best idea in the whole wide world to rely on hearsay evidence at the High Court, beyond me, right? But he relied on hearsay evidence from Miss Pinkham, adduced under hearsay notice, in which she said that she had never once told a story, been in any way indiscreet or ever disloyal, in an email from her to his solicitors, and had previously gone on record to deny claims to the contrary. Miss Pinkham was not called to give evidence, and the contents of the email were not tested in cross-examination. Now, that's interesting. So, when it comes to the submissions, let's go down to that. Prince Harry submits that the information in the article was private and could not have been legitimately known outside a very small circle. The information was obtained most likely by voicemail interception, otherwise known as unlawful information gathering. So the same justification, right? Associated denies this. So here's the discussion and the conclusion. Again, wow. Broken record much? The burden is on Prince Harry to prove on the balance of probabilities that the relevant information in this article was obtained by unlawful means, carried out or commissioned on Associated's behalf. I'm thinking this is a paragraph that we're going to see a lot in this judgment, right, guys? The pleaded case was a specific one, that Ms. Nicol obtained Ms. Pinkham's mobile telephone number and then commissioned a blagger to obtain itemised billing data. That case was not proved. There is no article. Wow. There's no article-specific documentary material showing that any blagger was commissioned, that any itemised billing data was obtained, or that any such material was used in preparing this article. Wow. Wow. Sorry, I'm just doing something very, very quickly. Okay. Sorry, just had to do something in the background there very, very quickly. Okay, done. So let's get back to this. There's no article-specific documentary material showing that any blagger was commissioned, that any itemised billing data was obtained, or that any such materials were used in preparing this article. In other words, there's no, as far as I'm concerned, my interpretation of this, there's no documentation to prove that someone was paid or someone was arranged to have the purpose of illegally gathering information on this story about Prince Harry. Interesting. The fact that Miss Pinkham's number appears in Miss Nichols' notebook does not establish that it was unlawfully obtained. Exactly. I accept Miss Nichols' evidence that she could have readily have obtained the number from Miss Pinkham herself or from mutual friends, and that there was nothing unusual in her having it. Nor does the fact that not every detail in the article is reflected in the surviving notes provide a sufficient basis for inferring illegal information gathering. The contemporaneous material demonstrates that Miss Nichols did have a direct conversation with Miss Pinkham, in which she checked whether Prince Harry had attended the party at Miss Pinkham's home. And Miss Pinkham confirmed that he had. Miss Nichols' evidence was that she had several sources in Prince Harry's social circle, including one who was sometimes present when he was on the phone and who had, at least on one occasion, been shown some of his text messages. I accept that evidence as to the sourcing of the article. Wow! So not only is the judge turning around and saying, dude, I don't believe you, Hazza, when you say that this information was illegally obtained. But the judge then goes on to say, on the other hand, I believe that it was obtained legally in this manner instead. Whoa! Whoa! It is also necessary to address the shift in the claimant's case. Wow. So the judge even noticed his flip-flopping. In cross-examination, the allegation became that Ms. Nichols herself had engaged in voicemail interception in relation to this article. That was not pleaded. If the claimants intended to allege that Ms. Nichols was herself guilty of voicemail interception, that was a serious allegation which should have been pleaded clearly. So that she had proper notice of the case, she had to meet an opportunity to address it in her witness evidence. It's not permissible to confront a witness for the first time in the witness box with a materially different and more serious mechanism of unlawful information gathering than that which was being pleaded. Wow. 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 So the allegation of who did the unlawful information gathering was all over the place on this one. And the judge was like, yeah, dude, you got to be a little bit more clear. You got to be a little bit more clear in all of this. I see a couple of you guys over on X commenting on all of this. Let me just read a couple of your notes right now before we continue. So we've got Megan, the douche of Sussex, saying nobody this thick would have the capability to pass the test to fly an Apache helicopter. I know, right? It's a total dumbass. What an embarrassment to the country. Yeah, totally agree. Monzatia says, I won't be surprised if he was leaking by then with different accounts pretending to be someone else and he's doing the same in that WhatsApp group. That's been an opinion conspiracy theory, whatever, that's been going around for a while now, actually. Monzatia then says, Baroness Lawrence must be kicking herself for allowing Harry to convince her to get involved in all of this. Yeah, she must be. And again, there's allegations, opinion conspiracy theories, whatever, that Harry potentially, allegedly conned Baroness Lawrence into this in the first place. Whoopsie doodle, indeed. So let's go on. So the judge doesn't stop. Wow. In any event, I reject that allegation on the facts. I accept Ms. Nichols' evidence that she'd not used voicemail interception, whether specifically on this occasion or generally. Her denial was clear and emphatic. It's consistent with the account she gave in her witness statements. I also accept her evidence as to the sourcing of this article. The hearsay email from Ms. Pinkham does not materially assist the claimants. So even when Hazza somehow provides evidence, right? Judge is like, yeah, it wasn't relevant. You just wasted me time with that shiz. Wow! Wow! Oh wow, he goes in. It's untested hearsay, and in substance goes only to Miss Pinkham's denial that she sold a story or had been indiscreet. Wow, so it actually helps Daily Mail. Wow. It does not demonstrate that the information in the article was obtained unlawfully, nor does it contradict Miss Nichols' evidence that she had sources other than Miss Pinkham herself within the relevant social circle. Dude. Dude. Standing back, Prince Harry has failed to prove unlawful information gathering in relation to this article and any of the formulations advanced. They failed to prove the pleaded case that Ms. Nichol obtained Ms. Pinkham's number and commissioned a blagger to obtain itemised billing data. They cannot make good their claim by shifting, at trial, mind you, to an unpleaded case that Ms. Nichol herself engaged in voicemail interception. And in any event, I accept Ms. Nichol's evidence as to the lawful sourcing of the article. Yeah. The judge was miffed off that Hazard did that. Said, oh, it was them that did the unlawful information gathering, and then changed during the trial to say, no, it was them that did it instead. Yeah, judge literally pointing out that was not good for him at all. In substance, Prince Harry's case invites the court to infer unlawful information gathering from the private character of the information, the absence of a complete note of every detail, and Prince Harry's belief that the information could not have become known legitimately. That is insufficient. Again, yes, the court must decide the case on evidence and proper inference, not on speculation. Judge has got it right. For those reasons, I'm not satisfied that Prince Harry has demonstrated unlawful information gathering in respect of Article 13. The claim in relation to this article will be dismissed. Oh! Dismissed. Gone. Done. Over. That is it. Wow. Let's find the next one. Let's have a look. Okay, here we go. If you just give me a moment, I've just got a message. All right, guys, it looks like, yeah, your favourite DC lawyer, John Witherspoon, will be coming up in a moment. We're going to get his live reaction to all of this. So if you just bear with me one moment, for those that are watching live, whether on YouTube or on X, stay tuned. Your favourite DC lawyer will be coming up, coming live onto this channel. We're going to get his expert analysis on the breaking news that Prince Harry has lost his Daily Mail lawsuit. I'm just setting everything up right now. Okay. Let me just get the invite link. Get over to him. Because I know a lot of you guys will be wanting to hear from your favourite DC lawyer, John Witherspoon. So I've just sent him the link. Let's just wait for him to come in now. Let's have a look. There we go. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm absolutely, like, amazed. You see, part of me, I don't know about you guys, but part of me were thinking that somehow he was going to kind of get away with it. I was dreading that it was going to be the same ruling as the Mirror. That he was going to lose some, but then he was going to win some, right? But this one, it's like out and out, all your claims dismissed. All your claims, you didn't have the evidence to back yourself up. It was all speculation. That was it. And some of which actually helped the Daily Mail publisher. Like, seriously, dude, he lost big time. Now, he's on the hook for millions, potentially, on this one. Oh, hang on a minute. It looks like John is in the waiting room. Let's get him in. Okay, just give me a moment, guys. All right.
Hey, Steph.
Hey up, John.
Yeah.
Hang on. Bit of feedback. I think I'm all right now. I think you're all right now as well. Hey up, everyone. We've got your favourite DC lawyer, John Witherspoon, in the house. Everyone say hi to him, whether you're watching on YouTube Over 1,500 of you watching on YouTube. And if you're watching on X, over 29,000 of you are watching on X right now. I know this is insane, guys.
Hey,
So thank you so
wow.
much for everyone tuning in on this breaking news. If you want more of this and analysis from your favourite DC lawyer, John Witherspoon, make sure you are subscribed to join our Alter Nerd tribe here on YouTube. And if you're watching on X, if you haven't done so already, it's free. Hit that follow button on my profile right now for more misadventures of the gruesome twosome, because I tell you something, this court case is not finished. We still have a ruling, a court hearing at the end of this month to determine, basically, from what I can gather, how much Hazard is on the hook for when it comes to this court case and losing it big time. Now, I am going to record this as a separate episode, you guys, so for all those watching, bear with me as I put in the intro right now. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and I am here with an extra special Daily Nerd Live. Breaking news, Prince Harry has lost his lawsuit against the Daily Mail newspaper, the publisher. He ain't just lost only a little bit, or some of it. No. Dude has lost big time. 100% of his claims have been dismissed by the judge. Not only has he lost, though, the rest of the claimants have also lost as well. All of their claims, 100% of them, the judge has dismissed those as well. And I know you guys have been wondering, well, what does our favourite DC lawyer think to all of this? Well, guess what? I've got him on right now, live, as we are filming this right now. John Witherspoon, thank you so much, mate, for coming on. Appreciate it. How you doing?
I am doing well. I'm doing better as of about an hour ago than I was before, if that tells you anything. So
I was literally like this an hour ago. I'm like, oh, like furiously refreshing the pages, being like, where's the judgment? It should have been here right now. Like, refresh. But speaking of the judgment, well, let's get into it right now. He's lost. Big time. Now, from what you know, from what you've read so far in all of this, bear in mind it's been about an hour now since this judgment has been released. I suppose, first off, what's your initial reactions to all of it?
well, I think my reaction is the same as everybody else's. There was a little bit of me along, I think all the people who've been watching this all felt like, okay, maybe the judge will throw Harry a bone in one aspect of the case or another. But this is a blowout. This is a whitewashing. This is a total annihilation. And it's rather remarkable, I have to say. I have not read, the whole thing is about 430 pages or so, 436 or something like that. So it's going to be a while before anybody gets to read through it from start to finish. But the only thing that I would like to see that I haven't heard anybody talk about yet is whether the judge admonished Harry specifically. You remember on the last day of the trial, there was some evidence presented that directly contradicted what Harry had said previously concerning his relationship with some members of the media. But in the absence of that, though, that would be kind of the icing on the cake if the judge had said something along those lines. But for the most part, as I said, it's a complete blowout, a complete repudiation. And the judge basically said, look, Harry may be correct, but he didn't prove it. He did not prove it. In the absence of proving something, his feelings, his emotions, his sense of fairness, all of that stuff is irrelevant. And I think that's one of the real blind spots for Harry, is that he feels like, well, my heart tells me that, you know, none of my friends would have shared any inside information. Well, come on. We've all been in friend groups where something is shared allegedly in complete confidence. and somebody goes and runs their mouth. It's entirely conceivable that that's happened in this case. There was a situation, I think, dealing with somebody's travel plans. I think it was Chelsea Davies' travel plans, if I recall. And any number of explanations other than someone broke into an airline reservation system or tapped a voicemail or something along those lines. Any number of explanations of how someone might have found out that a certain person was taking a certain flight from point A to point B on a certain day. And again, Harry's approach to all of this is, oh, well, it can't possibly have been anybody on inside my friend group who disclosed any of this information. It must have been these nasty, dirty old newspapers up to their usual tricks, the same tricks, by the way, that bedeviled my mother, and the same nasty group of newspapers that engaged in the near catastrophic car chase in New York, allegedly, and apparently did not. But the bottom line is, as I said, he got just blown out of the water. And that's only the small, picture part of this. The other part of it is, of course, this is another, I hate to say it, but it's true, this is another giant example of why Harry is a loser. I don't know how else to put it. He is a loser.
301-367.
Oh, hey, oh.
Steph, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay,
Can you
let
hear
me get
me?
myself. Yes, I can hear you. Let me get myself back. There I am again.
Ah, there you
Okay.
are. Sorry
Yeah,
for
sorry.
the technical gremlins there, but we are back. So, yeah, continue. What was the point you were trying to make there, hon?
Well, it's like a giant pile of rocks of events in Harry's life when he has been, what do I want to say? He's been on the wrong side of the way the world works.
Mm.
And this is a giant boulder on that pile of rocks. The fact that his feelings, his heart tells him that something was some sort of skullduggery, some sort of illicit activity was taking place. That's the only possible explanation. His heart tells him that. Well, okay, fine, but the judge doesn't want to hear that. The courts are not interested in that. The legal system is not built on feelings. The legal system is built on evidence. And the judge has said, in the parts of the opinion that I've read, the judge has said repeatedly, there simply was not evidence to support your allegations, Harry. And that is what carries the day. And I guarantee you, within the next 24 hours, we'll see Harry talking about, well, the judge got it wrong. The judge didn't know what he was doing. The judge didn't understand.
Mm.
And again, we'll all just be scratching our heads and shaking our heads. Dude, you just do not understand the way the world works, and especially the way the legal system works. And, the other evidence of that too is at the end, he started talking about, the newspapers have still made Meghan's life miserable because of their activities. It's like, okay, that might be true, but what does that have to do with this case? As far as I'm aware, he had never even heard of Meghan, let alone met her, let alone married her at the time that these events allegedly took place. So why would he be telling the judge that he, feels bad for his wife because of these same nasty newspapers? That just doesn't have any relevance at all. He simply does not understand things like that.
Well, guys, on that bombshell for the pre-recorded video portion of this, I'm going to end it on that bombshell there. But for those watching live, whether on YouTube or on X, stay exactly where you are, because hopefully we'll be able to snag your favourite DC John Witherspoon just a little while longer, whilst we actually go through a little bit more of this judgment and get his first look reaction at The third article relied upon Prince Harry in his claim. We're going to go through that live. So if you don't want to miss that or any further fantastic analysis unique to this particular channel from John Witherspoon himself, make sure you are subscribed to join our Alter Nerd tribe here on YouTube. And if you're following on me on X, make sure you're following me at Stef Alter Nerd for more misadventures of the gruesome twosome. Again, those watching live on YouTube or on X, stay exactly where you are. More to come from John Witherspoon. But for those on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all your faces. And until the next time, you guys, laters. All right, guys, and we are back live with your favourite DC lawyer, John Witherspoon, in the house. Hey up, mate. I'm just quickly uploading the video that we've just done there. If you guys want to watch it as a standalone, it will be released in a couple of hours' time. So you guys will be able to watch that separately. I'm making sure that you guys can watch it separately also on X. Because whatever I pretty much release on YouTube, you guys get to see it on X as well. Thank you so much to everyone that supported me on both platforms today. I really do appreciate it. I'm extremely honoured and very humbled. So thank you so much for that. Whilst I'm just quickly uploading all of this, was there anything else that you wanted to add when it comes to this news that he's lost, like, big time? I mean, one of the big things I think a lot of people are asking, or at least I'm asking, is what do you think of Harry's chances of successfully appealing this? I don't think he's got a good chance at all, but what do you guys think? What do you think, John?
Well, I think one of the things that people misunderstand is that you can't just, you can file an appeal, but you have to have a reason for the appeal that's not, that is not simply, oh, well, I don't like the way the judge ruled. The judge came down, against me from A to Z, and I don't like that, so I'm going to file an appeal. You can't just go shopping for a preferred or a more preferable answer from the court system. You have to have a reason for the appeal. You have to say, well, the judge made an error somewhere, or there was some sort of prejudicial evidence let in that should not have been let in, and that might have caused a problem. It's not likely that I think that he's going to prevail on appeal, because basically the judge would say, or the appellate court would say, look, we've been through all this. We don't see anything here that we would consider to be reversible. You have a number of potential outcomes in an appeal, one of which is the appeals court would say, yes, we agree with you on your appeal. We're going to reverse the decision. Or no, we disagree with you. We're going to uphold the decision. Or it can be sent back down to the trial court, to Judge Nicklin, with some instructions to say, hey, we think you got a little bit of the law, or your interpretation or analysis or your rulings were wrong in a particular area, and we'd like you to go back and revisit that. But in the absence of something that is very substantial, I don't think he's going to have a lot of luck on appeal, because basically this just was a case of the judge said, I've looked at all this evidence. You may be correct, Harry, that some of the things that you're alleging, you might be right, but you didn't prove it. You did not prove it. And that's where the rubber meets the road as far as the law and the courts are concerned. And in the absence of proof that the newspapers were up to no good, and that they, hacked your voicemail, did all of these things, that he alleges, then you can't win. And this is one of the downsides of being so passionate about something. I have to say, someone made an excellent point the other day, which I think has some relevance here. They said, one of the ways that you can tell that someone is not particularly bright is that when they take a very strongly held, passionate position about something, and you ask them, why do you feel so strongly? Why do you feel the way that you do? And their response, and this is kind of typical of Harry, their response is, well, my heart tells me that this is what's going on. Right there, you kind of get a window into the way that they operate and the fact that they may not be terribly bright. And in my view, in my opinion, that may be very indicative about Harry, because everything that he talks about, like, he stands up, he gives speeches about whatever he's talking about, and you rarely hear him say something like, research has shown, or as we saw the other day in such and such a place when such, this and such happened. You don't really hear him say that. Everything is, well, my heart tells me. So I think that tripped him up in this case as well.
Very much so. I mean, as we go through the particular words from the judge in this judgment in a moment, I'm finding a theme already, which is it was all talk, but none of the receipts. Like all
Exactly.
talk, but no proof. It was all assertions. It was they could only have got this through illegal information gathering. That's it. But hang on a minute. Where's the proof that they did that illegal information gathering in the first place? And that's something that the judge has specifically actually caught Hazard on this. So let's go through some of this judgment right now. In
The
particular,
judge even telegraphed that earlier on in the case. He's like, you guys aren't giving me much. I'm not seeing a lot here. I'm just warning you.
yeah.
This could go sideways pretty quickly. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are. He did. It was, as far as I'm concerned, completely unprecedented. This was what you're talking about, I believe, is the hearing before the trial actually started in January. It was back in December time. And he turned around and he says, look, you've already piled in nearly like £40 million into this court case. This is unprecedented. This is, a lot of money here. You have to make sure that if you still want to continue with the trial, that you might be on the hook for this money if you lose. Make sure you've got the money if you lose. So this is a judge even warning him. So for me, to me, that was like a big, massive, like, red flag for Hazard. He shouldn't have continued. He should have pulled out at that point and just settled if he could. Or just cut his losses and run, right?
Right.
But he didn't, and here we are right now. So let's get on to the third article relied upon by Prince Harry in his claim. So I'm going to go through this, and we're going to get John Witherspoon's like real-time reaction to all of this. So this article was by the Mail on Sunday on the 11th of May 2003 by Andy Buckwell and Kate Nichol. The title was Harry Falls for a Girl from the Glossy Posse. And so it was reported in this article that Prince Harry was dating Laura Gerard Lee, described her as his first serious girlfriend, stated that the relationship had been kept secret until they appeared together at the Badminton horse trials, and included further detail about her school, friends, family, and alleged secret trips to see Prince Harry in Eton or Windsor. So when it comes to the issues, the judge says the information identified in the pleading as private information concerns Prince Harry's relationship with Laura Gerard Lee, including the fact of the relationships, its private or secret character, and the allegation that she was making secret trips to see him. The issue is whether Prince Harry has proved that this information was obtained by unlawful information gathering. There is no pleaded mechanism of unlawful information gathering specific to this article. At trial, however, different unlawful mechanisms were put at different stages to different witnesses. That forms part of the context in which the evidential case falls to be assessed. And so it then goes on to the evidence. In his first witness statement, Mr. Buckwell said that he remembered this article clearly. He said that the evidence was that after a photograph of Prince Harry with an unidentified young woman appeared in a newspaper, which he identified as The Sun, a trusted source telephoned him and said that the source recognised her. Source identified her as Laura Gerard Lee, said that her set was nicknamed the Glossy Posse, that she went to a girls' school in Wiltshire. He said that he passed this information on to an editor called Paul Field. He didn't recall speaking to Ms. Nichol about the story or doing further legwork to stand it up beyond passing on the initial details volunteered by the source. He said the source was known to him and had friends in common with Prince Harry and was a reliable source of information. Now, there was a second witness statement from Buckwell addressing the claimant's later pleaded propensity allegations concerning his earlier work at the Sunday Mirror. He again said that as so far as this article was concerned, the tip came from his own known and trusted source, who had friends in common with Prince Harry and was well placed to know the information provided. Ms. Nichol then addressed the article in a first witness statement, saying she didn't recall the article well, had been unable to locate any contemporaneous notes relating to it. She said that because Buckwell's name appeared first on the byline, she assumed that it was his tip that the woman Prince Harry had been photographed with was Laura Gerard Lee and that they were dating. She said that she presumed Paul Field passed on Buckwell's tip and asked her to gather more details from her own contacts in Harry's social circle, such as with whom Miss Gerard Lee was friends, whom Prince Harry had dated previously, and the fact that he had been recently seen out with other girls. She said that she used to go to the bars referred to in the article and had contacts in that circle who could have been in a position to give information about this relationship. She denied any involvement with, unlawful information gathering and all that malarkey. In cross-examination, Buckwell accepted that the earlier photograph in The Sun did not identify the young woman or described her as being in a relationship with Harry. He accepted the published article contained additional detail beyond bare identification. He also accepted that the published copy referred to more than one source. However, when it was put to him squarely that the private investigators or unlawful methods had been used to obtain the relationship information, Mr. Buckwell rejected that proposition emphatically, maintaining that he did not use a private investigation for this story and that it came from a genuine source acquainted with Prince Harry's social circle. And so the judge then continues to say, I bear in mind the limits I've imposed on propensity evidence in this litigation and the reasons for those limits. Even where propensity is established against an individual, it cannot of itself prove wrongdoing on another occasion. At most, it may provide some support for an inference where other evidence relating to the particular article or incident points in the same direction. It does not supply missing proof and cannot justify optimistic guesswork or inference upon inference reasoning. Now, before we go any further, John, going through all that so far, so essentially the gist of the article and the evidence provided by Hazard and the defendants, what do you think to this so far as to what essentially the judge has written to all of this?
Well, the judge is going into almost nauseating detail to basically say, just because the newspapers got this information does not mean that they got it in some underhanded way. There's just no proof of that. That was at least there was no proof that was presented during the litigation, during the legal proceedings. So he's just, he's just going over the top to make it very clear that there's nothing here that is dispositive. There's nothing here that is a smoking gun, for lack of a better term.
I mean, you say that he's going to nauseating detail, and I do agree with that. But do you think the reason that he's going into so much detail is because it's Prince Harry? That he's making sure on paper he's crossing the T's, dotting the I's, all that malarkey, because there will be, of course, extreme interest in this judgment?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with Prince Harry. I think that's standard procedure for a judge in a case to just make sure that everything is spelled out. And again, this goes to the possibility of an appellate proceeding where, one of the parties could go to the appeals court and say, we don't understand why Judge Nicklin did this down at the trial court level, and he's just making sure that if that happens, if somebody cuts out that piece of paper that you just read from and sends it up to the appeals court, that they don't have any questions. There's nothing that they're wondering about. It's like, well, why did he, reason this out the way that he did? He's just making absolutely sure, as most judges would, that his reasoning is spelled out.
Okay, well, let's get on to the rest of this judgment for Harry's third article, because he then goes on to Hazard's submissions, and this is laughable, really. I mean, he goes through paragraphs upon paragraphs, right, of, the Daily Mail publisher and what evidence they provided. But for Hazard, it's literally just 2 paragraphs. So here we go. It says a lot, really, as far as I'm concerned. So Prince Harry submits that the court should infer unlawful information gathering from the private character of the information in the article, coupled with the propensity case advanced against Mr. Buckwell by reference to his earlier work at the Sunday Mirror. His case was that the article went beyond what was publicly known from the photograph, and the additional detail about a secret relationship and secret meetings was unlikely to have been obtained lawfully. In relation to Mr. Buckwell, the allegation was put that the relationship information had been obtained through private investigations and specifically through the use of Jonathan Stafford. Associated submits that the claim fails because there's no pleaded mechanism of unlawful information gathering in relation to this article and no article-specific evidence of any unlawful method. It further submits that the case advanced at trial changed between the evidence of Mr. Buckwell and that of Ms. Nicol. So his evidence was on shaky ground. He flip-flopped on this. And the judge points this out, and I don't think the judge really appreciated that. So he says, look, it changed between the evidence of Buckwell and Nicol with different unlawful mechanisms being put to the 2 witnesses, and that the shifting presentation of the case underlines the lack of a coherent evidential basis for the inference sought. I mean, I don't know about you, John, but for me, that is a high-level judge legal burn on Harry.
Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is. I mean, read the last sentence again that you just read from that.
So it further submits that the case advanced at trial changed between the evidence of Buckwell and Nicol, with different unlawful mechanisms being put to the 2 witnesses, and that this shifting presentation of the case underlines the lack of a coherent evidential basis for the inference sought.
Yeah, the business about the lack of a coherent evidentiary basis for the inference sought. That's kind of like saying, that's a different way of saying, well, you're just throwing stuff at the wall almost to see what sticks. That's kind of what the judge is saying there. Yeah. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this? You got one story over here, you got one story over there, and doesn't help.
This is reminiscent, right, of the judge being majorly miffed off with Hazard towards the end of the case. Because if you remember, he turns round and he says, remember, Team Hazard and Team Claimants, the burden of proof is on you guys to prove that there was unlawful information gathering. Don't try and act in this court to infer that the burden of proof is on Daily Mail to prove that unlawful information gathering wasn't done.
Yes.
And so he's already been scolded by the judge at least once and warned by the judge before this trial even started, saying, dude, do you want to continue with this? Because there's tens of millions of pounds and dollars on the line for this. If you lose, you got to pay through the nose, mate.
Right. Well, and let's remember, too, that unlike in a criminal case where you have guilt that has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, this is a civil case. And so all you need, it's a balancing test. It's like a scale. It's a 51-49 thing. And Harry's team could not even come up with, it's more likely than not that this took place. It's a much easier bar to clear than in a criminal case. All they have to do is, it's like, yeah, well, I see evidence here that, this probably took place, and I think it's more likely than not they couldn't do that. So
Mm,
again, for the judge to come in and say, well, not only have you not cleared that, you haven't even gotten up to 51%. It's like these are bricks that I cannot stack up to make a pile kind of a thing. So it's not a good look for Harry and his team. It's really not.
no. The only one the only winner, I think, on Team Harry, on Team claimants, is the lawyer, is the barrister.
Is it Sherburne? Is that his
Yeah,
name?
yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I need to get more completely up to speed, and I'm sure we're going to see in the news over the coming days exactly how this is likely to play out. I know there's an Elton John angle in
Yeah.
terms of bringing Mr. Sherburne into the case. I know there's an insurance policy involved somehow. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out in terms of who has to open their wallet and start paying what amount to who. And we'll just have to wait and see. It's complicated. It's
Very much
complicated.
so. And I don't expect Hazard to open his wallet anytime soon, because allegation is running around that he still owes the taxpayer over £500,000 in legal costs from his failed attempt from last year to to the bitter end, to try and win from the UK government through the court taxpayer funded security at the level he feels he deserves. He's
Right.
apparently still on the hook for over £500,000 that he owes to taxpayer. I mean, that's insane. So if that is the case and that's true, I don't expect him to open up his wallet anytime soon for this particular case. And to be fair, if you're to believe the reports, it don't look like he's got that much money left, and he's been going to the Bank of Par, apparently cap in hand, to for him to bail him out.
Yes, yes. Well, and this brings up an issue that has come up before in terms of, does Harry really understand? And there are people whose opinion, and I mean, I would be my opinion too. I don't think he really understands the difference between a $1 bill and a $10 bill and a $100 bill.
Mm.
Obviously he gets it. There's a difference, but he does not. I don't think, in my view, I don't think he understands really, like, the difference in. Again, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna buy a dinner and it's gonna cost me $10, and I'm gonna buy a dinner and it's gonna cost me $100. Something in him, I just have never gotten the sense that he really understands that. And the relevance of that to this case is, if you said to him, okay, well, you could be on the hook for £1 million versus 10 million pounds versus some other amount, I don't think that would really resonate and register with him. That's just my gut feeling. But I think that's part of the reason that he's gotten himself into trouble in some of these cases, is that he just doesn't understand the stakes from a financial perspective. And the whole British legal system, unlike the American legal system, the whole British legal system is set up based on the fact that the loser has to pay such an enormous, potentially, portion of the winning party or the prevailing party's legal expenses.
And let me just interject there, because this isn't just Harry that's on the line for this. The other claimants are as well.
Right.
But the point I'm trying to make is, with a court case that has cost well over £40 million, and there's 7 claimants, he's still on the hook for millions of pounds of court fees just on him alone.
Yes.
And the point is, I don't think he could even afford that, let alone the full 40 million if it was all on him. You see where I'm coming from?
I absolutely can see where you're coming from. Now, I have heard a number of people say in the last couple of days that, well, if it all, comes down to tears, well, Elton John has got more money than he knows what to do with, so he'll just take care of it, and Harry can walk off into the sunset, because Elton John might or might not take pity on Harry and would say, well, don't worry about it, mate. We'll just let me handle the financial aspects of the loss. I don't think that's necessarily in Harry's best interest, because that does not, again, that does not change the problem, does not resolve the problem that I was just talking about, where he doesn't understand the true value of money, potentially. But you make a good point. You make a good point.
Well, let's get back to the judgment ruling for Harry's third article that he brought against the Daily Mail. And so here, the discussion and conclusion right off the bat. And this is what the judge has said so far. The first thing he says in every section of discussion and conclusion, he has said the same thing. And it's one sentence, which is an absolute, hammer drop. I am not satisfied that Prince Harry has proved unlawful information gathering in relation to this article. He spells it out. That is it. He hasn't proved it.
Right.
Although I found that Buckwell had demonstrated propensity during his period at the Sunday Mirror to use certain forms of unlawful information gathering, that cannot of itself prove wrongdoing on another occasion. So for Hazard's team to turn around and say, well, he did it before and he's done it in this article, but doesn't provide evidence that he actually did it in this article. Doesn't matter if he did it before. The question was, did he do it in this article that you're presenting to the court? And you haven't provided the evidence. So the judgment is he didn't.
Right. Right. And that you bring up a really good point, and I think that's a nuance that I think is even confusing for lawyers. I remember it was confusing for me when I was in law school. There are different types of so-called propensity evidence.
Yeah.
One of which is, for instance, if you always, well, I know, totally random example. I know that so-and-so always puts his wallet in his left rear pocket, and he always puts his cell phone in his right front pocket. Okay, that's just habit evidence, and that's fine. That can be brought in. But you can't come in and say something like, well, I know that it must have been so-and-so that broke into my car because that individual has broken into 3 other cars. Well, that's all well and good that he has past, there's been past evidence of the fact that he's broken into 3 other cars, but that does not help with an argument to prove that he broke into my car, or whatever the example is. So basically what Harry is saying here is, well, there's been evidence that reporters have done bad stuff in the past, and it's like, okay, well, that's all well and good, but that doesn't move the ball, does not turn the dial on proof that they did stuff bad to you in this particular instance. And that's the point the judge is making in that paragraph that you just read.
Yep, makes sense to me. So yeah, let's get on to this. So he then says, at most, such evidence may provide some support for an inference where other evidence relating to the particular article points in the same direction. It does not supply missing proof and cannot justify inference upon inference reasoning, which I think is basically Hazard's evidence as a whole.
Yes.
How's Hazard's evidence as a whole?
Yes, it goes to his obsession with these newspaper people are all rotten to the core.
Yeah.
All bad actors. So
Yeah.
they must have been bad actors in this case as well. And the judge is saying, no, that's not the way this works.
No, absolutely. In my judgment, the evidence relating specifically to this article does not support the drawing of an inference that it was the product of unlawful information gathering. I accept Buckwell's evidence as to the genesis of the story. So he's turning around and saying, there's no evidence to confirm that unlawful information gathering was the basis of this story, but enough evidence to support Buckwell and his claim that the genesis of the story was completely legal. Like, seriously, he's turning around and saying, Daily Mail bought the receipts, you didn't, you lose, dumbass. You know what I mean?
Right.
He then says he gave a clear account that following the publication of the photograph in The Sun, he was contacted by a trusted source who identified the young woman as Laura Gerard Lee and provided the glossy posse description and the school town detail. I also accept as evidence that he passed that information to Paul Field and that he did not use a private investigator for this story. The fact that the published article contained additional detail beyond the identifying information does not justify the inference that those details must have been obtained unlawfully. Mr. Buckwell certainty which particular additional details came from his original source as distinct from other inputs. That does not undermine the central core of his account, nor does it provide any positive evidential basis for finding that any private investigator was used. So for him to say that, you know, he can't remember where other information came from, I think the judge there is saying, just because he can't remember, you can't then infer that, oh, he can't remember, therefore he got it from unlawful information gathering, because it's equally just as plausible that, no, he actually got it through legitimate sources. I think that's what the judge is saying there, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what?
Yeah.
I might have gone to law school in a previous life. Do you know what I mean?
There's still time. There's always time.
It's like, I'm kind of like, it's like more questioning to you, like, am I getting my understanding right on this one? I'm like, you're like, yeah, totally. Like, I'm expecting a little bit of pushback, and like, no, you're pretty much getting a hole in one. I'm like, wow, all right.
Right.
I might be hanging around with you too much, mate.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well,
I learned from you so much.
it's like saying, you know, I know that, you know, again, just totally hypothetically, I know if let's say there's some information that comes out that says, I know that my neighbor wears red and white pajamas.
Yeah.
And the neighbor says, oh, well, that must mean that you snuck up to my bedroom window and looked in the middle of the night and saw me wearing red and white pajamas. And it's like, no, that could be the case, but I saw you take your garbage bins out this morning wearing red and white pajamas. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, this is the logic that Harry is bringing to bear here, that like, you know, oh, he must have looked in my window. It's like, no, my friend, I saw you take your bins out. I saw you get your newspaper. This is what you were wearing. It's like, oh, well, you know.
Oh, this is the High Court we're talking about as well. Like the highest court of the land. And this is Hazard's A game.
Yeah,
This is
right,
what he had? Like,
right.
wow. I just, it's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable how I think, actually, do you know what? Before we go any further, I do have a question that's just popped up in my mind. So it may be different in the UK. I absolutely understand that. But do solicitors, barristers, lawyers have a duty of care to their clients over in America, whereby if someone wants to bring a lawsuit to an entity, a person, or something along those lines, and the case is just like Harry's in the sense of there's no evidence, it's just based on inference upon inference upon inference, it's based on hearsay, it's based on conjecture, but there's no actual hard-hitting evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
In America, do lawyers, solicitors, barristers, the like, have a duty of care to turn round to their client and say, dude, don't do this. Don't go through with this. You're going to lose.
That's a great question. And it really, I think the answer is not something that is written in stone, but, you know, the lawyer has a reputation to defend as well. And you don't want to waste your client's time. You don't want to waste your client's money. You don't want to waste the court's time. You don't want to waste your own time. Although that last point, wasting your own time, well, you know, you're going to get paid if you take the case. But the bottom line is, you know, there's a one of the ways that a case in the United States can get short-circuited very quickly is in general terms, failure to state a claim on which relief can be granted. In other words, you're talking about a bunch of allegations here where there's just no way that this is going to be you can't win kind of a thing. And a judge sometimes will reject a case and throw a case out for that particular reason. And I'm not saying that that's the case here, because Harry is talking about, okay, I've been a victim of what I believe is some illegal activity. It's not just I am a victim of, I don't know, a tree fell on my house or whatever it is. I mean, it's like an act of God. You can't, that it's slightly different. But the point being is that I think a smart lawyer, and I don't think there's any question that David Sherburne is it David Sherburne? I think is his name.
Yeah.
He clearly is a bright guy, and he has a good reputation in terms of his lawyering skills. But where the answer to your question comes in more specifically is, it's like, again, I don't want you, Mr. Client, to look foolish. I don't want you to waste your time. I don't want you to waste your money. And I don't want to look like a fool in front of the court either. And I don't want to look foolish in front of the court of public opinion. So those are really the ways that your question gets answered. There's no hard and fast duty to say, no, I will not represent you, or we're not going to do this. But it's a more nuanced thing, and it depends more on what the lawyer feels like the reputational collateral damage might be for filing a case. I mean, this does not look good this case does not look good for Mr. Sherburne in as far as his reputation is concerned. Now, he's got a lot of wins that he's piled up as well. So one loss, okay, fine. But
this is a big loss.
It's a big loss, and I'm sure he felt the sting of this.
Yeah.
I'm sure he felt the sting of it.
He must
But this
have
is
done.
why you meet with your client and you say, look, I recommend that we don't proceed with this. Again, I don't want to waste your time, money. I don't want to waste the court's time, whatever. That's kind of the way that all plays out.
Fair enough. Well, let's finish off the judgment for Article 3 that Harry brought towards the case. Before we finish up, I've been streaming now for nearly 3 hours. I think we've all got it. Has lost big time, guys. And the judge, as we're going through a little bit of this judgment here, is not mincing his words whatsoever. So let's get into it a little bit more. He says then, I also accept Ms. Nichols' evidence so far as it bears on this article that if she made any contribution, it was likely to have been by gathering additional social and background detail from her own contacts in Prince Harry's social circle and or from cuttings. So again, the judge turning around and saying, Hazard didn't bring the evidence, but the other side did. And so I believe them rather than you, mate. There's no documentary or other article-specific evidence linking her or Mr. Buckwell to any TPI, invoice payment, or other contemporaneous material capable of supporting a finding of unlawful acquisition. I also take into account, again, him noticing the shifting nature, as he calls it, of the claimant's case at trial. Again, this is another pattern that I'm seeing in this judgment after only reading, let's say, 3 judgments from 3 of his articles that he presented to court, right? A, he didn't bring any evidence whatsoever. B, it's inference on inference. And C, dude, you shifted your argument. You shifted your evidence, your argument, this, that, and the other during trial. You just were not consistent at all. And if you're not consistent, you're not reliable. And if you're not reliable, you're not going to be believed as much, right? There's going to be more speculation. The allegation advanced in the cross-examination of Mr. Buckwell was that he had used private investigations and specifically Jonathan Stafford. The case put in relation to Ms. Nichol was framed differently. That shift in presentation is not of itself determinative. but it does underline the absence of any coherent article-specific evidential route by which the court could conclude on the balance of probabilities that the information in this article was obtained by unlawful information gathering. So, even their allegations screwed them. The allegations screwed them. They say that Buckwell used a investigator for unlawful information gathering, and then they say that Nickel did it differently. Because it wasn't coherent, because they didn't know basically where the head was to the backside, the judge was like, dude, get your story straight. To me, it's like, this is the judge turning around and saying, Hazza, get your freaking story straight if you ever want to present a case at High Court again, right? Yeah. All right, I can read judge speak. Get me, guys. Wow. He then says, I accept Mr. Buckwell's evidence about the sourcing. In cross-examination, Buckwell accepted that the published copy included the secret trips detail and that he could not now be certain of the precise extent of the information provided in the original call. However, he did not disavow that detail as outside the scope of his source. Rather, he said it was possible that his source mentioned the weekend visits and when pressed, that this was the sort of information his source had provided, albeit that he could not be 100% sure given the passage of time, which I think is relevant here. I mean, we're talking about articles that are over now 20 years old. I mean, I can remember what I did over 20 years old, but not specifics. Do you know what I mean? And this, we're going into specifics here, and I'm glad that in this case, the judge is giving leeway to that. Is recognizing we're looking at articles over 20 years old. I appreciate you're not going to remember much of the specifics, but give me enough. And it looks like, you know, here he was given enough. He says in those circumstances, I'm satisfied that it's more likely than not that the secret trips element was supplied by the source identified by Mr. Buckwell. Certainly, that is more likely than the claimant's contention that this element of the story was obtained by unlawful information gathering. The claimants did not identify any specific unlawful information gathering mechanism by which the secret trips detail could have been obtained, which again speaks to this shifting nature of, well, they're accusing one journalist of unlawful information gathering here by this method, and then another journalist for the same article, unlawful information gathering, but by another method. Again, they didn't have their story straight. He says, rather, the claimants invited the court to infer unlawful information gathering from the asserted privacy of the information combined with propensity and context. For the reasons explained above, that is insufficient. So for Hazard to turn around and say, essentially, oh no, they got this information from unlawful information gathering. Trust me, bro. Judge is like, no, I'm not falling for that. That ain't good enough, especially in a high court. And then finally, he says, standing back, I'm not persuaded that the evidential picture goes beyond suspicion. You're all right to have suspicion, but for high court, you need to have evidence to back it up, and he just didn't have it. The article may well have contained private and socially sensitive information, but the court must decide whether Prince Harry has proved by evidence and proper inference the information was unlawfully obtained. In relation to this article, he has not done so. For those reasons, the claim in relation to this article will be dismissed. Wow. Wow.
Failed to meet the relatively low bar. It is, again, all you have to do is get more likely than not, just 51-49, and he couldn't do it. There's and then the propensity evidence again. It's like, okay, just because you think all these people are rotten, and just because they have probably been rotten on other occasions, does not mean they were rotten on this occasion. You can't just come in and say, well, this must have been what was going on, because that's not sufficient in a court of law. Again, back to the car example. Just because so-and-so is known to have broken into 4 other cars previously does not mean that he broke into my car on a certain occasion. The other thing that's interesting too, and the judge doesn't come out right out and say it, but I get the sense that it's also a part of what the judge is talking about here. And the judge is not going to say anything about this directly because it would be kind of inappropriate to do so. But reading between the lines, I get the sense that the judge is a little bit irritated about the fact that some of this stuff happened 2 decades ago. It's kind of like the judge saying, "Are you serious? Are you serious?" It's like, get a life, move on, stop dredging up stuff that happened 20 years ago. No one does this. And even though it's acceptable to bring this up, it's still not something that the average person would do. And I get this, my spidey sense just tells me that the judge is saying, really? Really? We're in here talking about grievances that you collected 20 years ago? Okay, I'll hear about this and I'll write about this for 400 pages because that's what my job is. But it's kind of like, there's an eye roll aspect to it. Like, oh my goodness, you've got to be kidding me. What are you doing here? Move along.
Tell me
Grown
about
man.
it. And he has to move along now. Let's put it this way, right? Just as we finish, a couple of updates following the breaking news that Prince Harry has lost in its entirety his Daily Mail lawsuit. Not only him, but the remainder of the claimants as well. So if I just, sorry, let me just... technical gremlins. Let me just go. There we go. Now you guys will be able to see it. So just 16 minutes ago, so another piece of breaking news. Media is reporting that Prince Harry's lawyer, David Sherburn, was seen entering Chatham House in central London to meet Harry on Tuesday afternoon. After he lost his case against the publishers of the Daily Mail. So to be a fly on the wall there. She's the freaking bed. So yes, David Sherburn is meeting with Prince Harry as we speak to discuss the loss. We also have a statement from Associated Newspapers, the Daily Mail publisher. So they say Associated Newspapers welcomes today's judgment, which is an overwhelming victory for the Daily Mail and its journalists and for free press generally, which I think is definitely a good point to make. Mr. Justin Nicklin today cleared the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday and dismissed every single one of, get this, the 97 allegations made by the claimants. I mean, that in of itself, I would say, is an amazing feat. I think
Yeah.
that's an amazing legal unicorn kind of success victory. Do you think?
I would agree. I think it's pretty remarkable. It's like, again, to the previous conversation about, just throwing stuff at the wall. There's a lack of critical thinking skills, I think, on someone's part, as far as probably Harry's, in terms of, well, why are we going to pursue this and so forth. And here's the other thing too. Harry has had a couple of minor wins in some past cases, and William has had a couple of minor wins. But the thing that everybody's going to remember is this huge loss. Nobody's going to remember, oh, well, the newspapers got smacked down on a couple of previous occasions because they did some bad stuff, and there were a certain, I think when Prince William prevailed, he donated all the winnings to charity. But this is going to be the one that everybody remembers, because everybody's going to say, look, he got greedy, he went too far, he couldn't put it to rest. His passion about the situation overcame common sense, if he has any. I think that's going to be the big takeaway. I mean, I think history's going to remember that, as you said, 97 attempts to make something stick, and it all just went.
I don't think he slayed these dragons. The Daily Mail dragons. That's for certain. Daily Mail slayed him.
Oh yeah, the dragon is alive and well. Absolutely. If you believe it's a dragon to begin with, if you believe it's a dragon, but if you do, it's alive and well, and it snorted a big blast of fire out of its nose.
I thought you were going to say something else then. Dude, I thought you were going to say something else then. All I'm going to say is his visa situation.
Oh,
I thought you were going to say something else then. So I burst out laughing because I was like, oh my goodness, are you actually going to say that? Are you actually going to say that? This is going to come out from John. Oh my goodness, she's the freaking bed. That would have been a moment, but never mind. I'm just laughing at my own joke inside my head now. There you go. Here we are. Anywho, to be a fly on the wall in my own head. It's very interesting indeed. But yeah. Let's get to the rest of this statement from Associated Newspapers. So, yeah, 97 allegations. There be every single one of them. In every case, the judge accepted the honesty of our journalists' evidence on how they sourced their sources. This is a magnificent vindication of the Daily Mail's journalism. For some of the most outrageous allegations made when the case was launched in a blaze of publicity 4 years ago, placing bugs in people's cars and homes, listening to calls as they were made, and illicitly accessing bank accounts, no credible evidence was ever presented. As we said at the time, these allegations were lurid and preposterous and were a fishing expedition by the claimants and their legal teams in a politically motivated campaign to muzzle the free press. The reputations of our decent and hard-working journalists were terribly impugned, and today they have been exonerated. As the judgment clearly shows, every single article was legitimately sourced. Associated Newspapers thanks Mr. Justice Nicklin, and we do too, for the patience and wisdom he has displayed throughout this misguided legal action, which has wasted so much valuable court time and more than £50 million in legal costs. Wow. I mean, the figure's been 40 million, but they're saying 50 million. He's on the hook for even more. This is insane. We will look to resolve outstanding issues, including the recovery of the costs we've incurred while defending ourselves against this egregious litigation. I mean, this is Associated Newspapers, Daily Mail coming out, and as far as I'm concerned, quite rightly, showing off their peacock feathers, being like, yeah, we won. And they're putting out the banners, they're putting out the fireworks. I bet their offices right now, oh, I'd want to be invited to that party, that's for certain. I mean, what do you think to their statement?
oh, absolutely, 100%. And I'm very anxious to see tomorrow morning's newspapers in London, to see what the headlines are. And the picture is on the front page. I can only imagine. Let me just say as well, I think in defense of the I feel compelled to say in defense of the legal profession, people always complain, oh, the courts move so slowly. They're so lazy. They're this, they're that, the other. No, 436, I believe, pages. That's an enormous amount of work. And that's just one of the cases that this particular Judge Nicklin, has on his docket. Justice Nicklin, rather. I mean, you can just, the volume of work that has to go into a 400 plus page opinion is astronomical. And yes, there's law clerks and other people and, people to do the typing and all of that other kind of stuff, but it's just an enormous amount of work. And this is why the courts sometimes appear to be moving slowly. So I just feel compelled to point that out, because a lot of people complain, oh, it takes forever, and what are they doing? And, I just want to make that clear to everybody.
Well, I mean, guys, when you go through quite literally, as I've just quickly tried to do, pages and pages and pages of this judgment, when there's like 97 allegations, yeah, it was going to take a while. I mean, the trial was in January. We're now in July. It's taken 6-7 months to come to this conclusion and write every single one up. I'm actually surprised it's happened now. Damn, that's a lot of work to do in a relatively short amount of time. 6-7 months. Dude, to me, it would have taken me, a year maybe to do all that. So I'd say the Judge Nicklin on this one, Justice Judge Nicklin, has actually been quite speedy on this, I would say. With the amount of work gone into that judgment, and there's literally quite pages, like hundreds of it, like shiz the bed. We're going to
Yeah.
be, I think in terms of mainstream media, this judgment has now overshadowed the UK trip. Whatever Hazard does, it doesn't matter in the UK. The only thing that'll matter is Hazard and his response to this, which make sure you are subscribed here on Stef The Alter Nerd on YouTube and also on X at Stef Alter Nerd. You're following me there, because when Hazard responds to this, and guys, he will. He responded last year when he ultimately lost at the appeals court to try and get taxpayer funded security at the level he wanted. He's gonna respond to this. When he does, I'm on it. I'm already refreshing and looking for his response already as we speak. So once that happens, I'm coming back on and I'm going to give you Hazard's response. If you don't want to miss that as it breaks, make sure you are subscribed here on YouTube to Stef The Alter Nerd, and over on X, make sure you're following me at Stef Alter Nerd. I've been streaming now for over 3 hours with this verdict watch and this breaking news. I'm going to go for a break and keep watch for Hazard's response. Before we go, though, John, any final words from you, hon?
No, well, yes and no. I mean, I think we've done a good job summarizing. You certainly have done a great job summarizing it, Steph.
Oh, thanks.
Again, I encourage people to look at this in and of itself, but also in the larger context of the life of Harry. My prediction, by the way, if and when a statement comes out from Harry, it's going to be, I'm terribly disappointed. The Judge Nicklin, by the way, I think I said Judge Nichols before. I'll correct myself.
Nicklin.
It's Judge Nicklin. He didn't understand. He didn't get it. Notwithstanding everything that we've talked about how Harry's feelings don't, get the job done, don't clear the bar as far as the law is concerned. It's gonna it's gonna be more of the same old. Remember when he went on the BBC previously? I think it was after the security case. Oh, it's an old-fashioned stitch up, and my father is out to get me. My brother is out to get me. The whole world is out to get me. Nobody understands. I predict that that's going to be the flavor of it. It's not going to be simply, well, we gave it our best shot. We thought we had a good case, and we're very disappointed that we didn't prevail. It's going to be a whole...
He's the victim, basically, in all of this still. And it's a
Yeah.
miscarriage of justice, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah, the world doesn't understand me, and I grew up in in this gilded cage consisting of the royal family, and we're going to hear more about this. We're going to hear more about this. It's going to be more of the narrative.
I
And-
suspect so
and the
as well.
timing-
I
By
suspect
the
so
way,
as well.
the timing of this could not be worse.
Mm.
I don't know exactly when his Invictus countdown speech was planned, or when he found out that this judgment might be
He was at
coming out.
Invictus today at the timing of the judgment being released, doing an Invictus speech. So, yeah.
Right. But anyway, horrible timing. No one is going to care a bit about what he had to say for Invictus. The newspapers are not going to cover that. The newspapers are going to cover the fact that he got smoked
Yeah.
in this case. And, it's, I don't know what to, people say to me, do you feel bad for Harry? Do you this, do that? It's like, I don't know. He's his own worst enemy. He really is. He's his own worst enemy. I get that not all of it is his fault, with Diana's passing and, everything that we've heard a million times. But at some point, it's like, you're 41 years old, grow up, get with the program. You're wasting your life. Your life is half over, and you've been absolutely miserable for most of it.
Yeah.
you better figure out, you better make some radical changes.
I don't think that'll happen anytime soon. But yes, let's be on the lookout for Hazard's response to all of this. A couple of thank yous before we say bye-bye for now. So here, Aussie, please make carbonised a mod, Steph. Done, and done. I got a head mod's message on X and quietly did that whilst we were streaming. So carbonised, if you haven't done so already, show off your peacock tail feathers with that blue wrench. You have now been wrenched. Big SM, the judge warned them 38 million between 7 is £5.42 million. Well, like I said, Associated Newspapers with their statement have now confirmed it's over 50 million in legal costs now. So add on an extra few million onto that, methinks, for everyone involved in all of that. King Bob, thank you so much for my favourite super chat sticker, the Ginger Jockey Fighting Arts moment. Angela, thank you so much, saying, hi guys, work schedule changed back to 12 hours, so hard to catch a live, miss the community. Not a problem. If you watch on the replay, still good. It's all Gucci. Thank you so much, though, for still supporting me on this channel, Angela. MPNG Creed Menace, Hazard and Megalodon are breaking the world record for being the most annoying couple of all time. Yeah, they're pretty much up there. Absolutely. Shaz saying, so glad this judge has gone with evidence and not with feelings. This case was never going to be a win for anyone, least of all Harry. Thanks, Steph. Well, firstly, you're welcome. And secondly, I mean, let's put it this way. If a judge went with his feelings in his judgment rather than either what the evidence is or lack of evidence, then he screwed himself, because then Associated Newspapers could actually legitimately, I would say, appeal on that, saying that the judge hasn't followed the correct judicial protocol to actually correctly judge this in the first place. It's not about feelings. Feelings don't matter. It's about the evidence that has been presented in court, or, just as important, the lack of evidence, right? So I don't think there was any fear of thinking that the judge would rule on his feelings, because that's just automatically a win for Daily Mail to appeal on that. And yeah, John's nodding his head being like, yeah, you should be a lawyer too, Steph. I agree. Big SM, finally, Big SM. David Sherborne joined Harry at the Invictus Talk. Yeah, already covered that with the breaking news earlier on. So yeah, David Sherborne is with Hazard at the moment. Oof, to be a fly on the wall with that. With that being said, guys, that is it for this extra special Daily Nerd live breaking news. Prince Harry has lost the Daily Mail lawsuit. He tried to slay the Daily Mail dragon. The dragon bit back. Has lost big time. Oh my goodness. Now the question is, end of month, how much does he have to cough up for the pleasure of losing big time towards the Daily Mail? So there's still a lot of updates to happen with this case. Not at least we are still waiting for Hazard's response to losing. So if you don't want to miss that or anything else, and if you're on YouTube and you haven't done so already, make sure you are subscribed to join our Alter Nerd tribe here. And if you're watching on X right now, my goodness, thank you so much to the X community for tuning in. Over 51,000 of you watching live. Wow, thank you so much. So if you haven't done so, make sure you're following me at Stef The Alter Nerd for more misadventures of Hazard with his case against the Daily Mail, because like I said, it's not over yet. There's more updates to come, so make sure you follow me over there as well to get the up-to-date information. Thank you so much to everyone that's liked this stream, that's commented, whether on YouTube or on X, to keep me company. Special thank you to those that have sent Casper books our way. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much to everyone that's subscribed to me over here on YouTube as well. Appreciate you all. With that being said, from John and I, that's it, folks. That's all, folks. If anyone gets that reference, extra nerd points to you. Until the next time, you guys. Laters. Bye.